What's up and what's going on? What's going on, everybody? Shout out to everybody in the build. Appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate each and every one of you. I'm fighting a sneeze. I have to sneeze. But shout out to everybody. We're going to be getting into this. He says, BR still on Juneteenth time. Absolutely, absolutely. Actually celebrated Juneteenth yesterday. Have you know? Actually celebrated Juneteenth. Family gathering, get together. Black folks can get together and barbecue and get drunk and pass out on the lawn on 4th of July. God damn it, we could do it on Juneteenth as well. And that's what we did. Well, I didn't stay for the getting drunk, passing out part. I just had a couple drinks and some barbecue. But anyway, we're going to be getting into this. This one, been up for a couple days. The whole Dr. Umar thing. I covered like a little small portion of it, but it got really into the heart, into the teeth of it. Shout out to the good brothers over there at the Daily Wrap Up crew. Hosted Dr. Umar Johnson, spliced it up, chopped and screwed it, made a bunch of content out of it, and it's good. I think those guys are doing a fantastic job over there, and we got to get into this because Dr. Umar Johnson, he exemplified a few things, something that I always say. There are those people who try to convince other people in the gender war, which is just another thing, just a battle of the sexes. Men and women disagree, and they talk about it and debate it from time to time. There are people who try to get other people to, hey, stop all this gender war stuff. Don't be doing all this gender war stuff. But meanwhile, they've clearly picked their side in the gender war. Everybody dropped their weapons, but they still firing off rounds. He's one of those. And he said a number of things, but we're going to be getting into that. Got a number of topics that we're going to be getting into today. So strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
What's up and what's going on, everybody? Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to the early bird squads. Those of you that make it in bright and early. Appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to Simp Takes. That's an interesting name. He says Michael Irvin voice. We're losing stepdaddies. I don't know Michael Irvin ever saying that, but I take your word. I don't know if Michael Irvin ever saying that, but I will definitely take your word. I will definitely take your word. Dolomite in the building says Umar was really up there working hard trying to insult those dudes' intelligence with his Jedi mind tricks. Hence, why he had no choice to but keep running the collective 22 toss sweep play. You hit the nail right on the head with that one. That, whenever you get them on the ropes, that collective 22 toss sweep play, oh man. Truth be told, that's Cynthia G's play. She's tripped up a great many of black men on that one. What if black men built as a collective? Well, what does that really mean? I've seen there's great immaculate businesses and stuff built by white people. I don't know if it was built by white men. I don't know if it was built by a collective, because maybe a small group of people, and maybe the group got a little bigger. But when you talk about black men doing stuff like that, that's not a collective. It got to be all hands on deck. Nothing gets built as a broad collective like that. It gets built by small groups and small pockets. And yeah, we need to do it more, but it's an argument to where nothing is never done, nothing is never enough. That's the argument trap that they try to get you in. But shout out to Dolomite. Shout out to the Mac the Trucker says, what's good, everyone? Shout out to Freeman's Journal saying the thumbnail. Yeah, I didn't think none of it. I didn't know I stuck the landing on the thumbnail. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Omega Drake said, yes, it's hilarious. Dolomite says A+ on the thumbnail look like a poster for a black psychological thriller. I see why y'all find it a little more funnier or amusing than I do. See, I didn't think it was really hitting all that hard. I didn't. But now that I look at it, in light of what y'all are saying, it does look like the poster or the cover to like a like Tyler Perry made a psychological thriller or something. I see what y'all saying. I feel ya. See, I didn't think that much of the thumbnail, but I'm glad y'all liked it. I'm glad y'all like it. This is some of my best work right here, honestly, but that's a whole separate story. But yeah, still got a few thumbnails sitting there on deck. But yeah, dropped a community psychological thriller, written, produced, directed by Tyler Perry, who owns BET. That's interesting. I wonder what he's gonna do with it. Shout out to RW in the building. Shout out to RW. Shout out to D Scott says, I'm still on Juneteenth time. Absolutely. I was at I said this in the pre-intro ramble that my family did what I guess was our first annual Juneteenth celebration. Like we can get together. I've been saying this on the air for a while, and I didn't facilitate this. I just was like, oh, I just got a group text like, oh, okay, we doing it. Cool. But I've been saying on the air for a while, with black folks on rather it's 4th of July, Cinco de Mayo, it don't matter what the holiday is, Memorial Day, we could get together and barbecue and drink beer and fall out on the lawn. We could do that on everybody else's holiday. At least add Juneteenth to the repertoire. I mean, just throw it in there, If we could do it on those days, we could do it on Juneteenth. And that's what we did. We got together, had some barbecue and some drinks. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into St. Patrick's Day. That's the one I was trying to think of too. St. Patrick's Day. Black people love them some St. Patrick's Day. Don't be celebrating Juneteenth, be celebrating St. Patrick's Day and everything every other day. Love them some St. Patrick's Day and 4th of July and all of that stuff. So yeah. Actually, no, I just found out. I think in the South they've been celebrating Juneteenth a lot more than what I previously realized. But yeah. But we about to get into this thing. So let's take a 30-second, very important 30-second, 30-second break, because I don't want to call this a break because it's very important. We got to give proper salute and shout out and acknowledgement to Machismo TV.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
All right, shout out to Machismo TV. That channel ran, facilitated by Machismo TV and the great poet, philosopher, Deacon Soul T-Balls is involved with that project over there. So make sure you periodically drop in and check that out. I found it to be a good place to go. If none of your favorite content creators are on at the time, just swing by Machismo TV. They just do a running non-stop reel practically 24 hours a day, like ESPN, of manosphere type content. Like I said, no editorial bias. They just playing the clip. You get to see a lot of stuff you missed there. So no, it's pretty good. Definitely go and check that out. The link should be in the chat room. There it is right there. Click on the link. Make sure you subscribe to it. But all right. With that said, let's go ahead and get into it. Shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you. Hit the like button. Something that I fell back from covering. we got to give one last hurrah to Zion Williams and his porn star side piece. He's still going out bad. I think this was the most recent when he dropped. I don't even think I covered when it dropped that he was paying $100,000 a month, $100,000 a month stipend. But here it is right here. Mariah Mills, the porn star. Many of you know her and seen her as a pizza delivery girl or a nurse, or you've seen her. And so anyway, she got her entanglement with Zion Williams, and now she's adding the NBA. She's adding the NBA, and trust me, the NBA sees this, but she wants to make sure they see it. She says, NBA, I don't know why that part is blurring out. Oh, sex tapes. I have X tapes of me and at Zion Williams, and he also has them on his trap phone at NBA, at Pelicans. NBA plays for the New Orleans Pelicans. Trade him now. He doesn't deserve to be in New Orleans. The sex tapes are dropping soon. That's what she is still on. He is that entangled with a chick that is out to ruin his life, and that is the cost that's the cost and penalty you pay for that type of hardcore extreme simping. Yes. He is taking the crown. He is taking the crown. That's the price you pay for that kind of extreme simping. And here's the thing. And I wanted to he needed to have an NDA, not she. He needed to have an NDA. But here's the deal. Like when it comes to fooling around, messing with chicks, and you rich and you got money and you balling, having baddies on yacht parties, that come with expenses. Even if we tried to, now, let's not call it tricking. There's expenses. There, certain lifestyles come with expenses. I think we understand that. All right. Hugh Hefner used to house like 20 women. That comes with expenses. There's certain expenses needed. There's certain expenses that come with it. So I understand that there are men who live lifestyles and it's got stuff going on with women that's above my understanding. JC the Conqueror is saying it ain't tricking if you got it, but there should be a cap on it. It got to be a cap, don't it? Not $100,000 a month stipend for a chick 1,000 miles away, who you could at any moment go on your phone, because she's 1,000 miles away. So at any moment that when you start missing her, because he was quite fond of her, giving her that much money. So he missed her every now and then. So when he missed her, he could just go on the X videos and then watch. But no, you don't do $100,000 a month stipend for a chick that you could go on and see her work on X videos. That's just not how it works. It's probably why he that's probably why he probably why he liked to record everything they did. You recorded with all these other men, you're gonna be recorded with me. Somewhere he probably don't even mind that the tape is out there. Somewhere he don't even mind that the tape is out there. Go on and put it out. She at in the NBA. She at in the NBA with the threats. And this is a form of extortion. And I don't know the full legality of extortion, but this is a form of extortion. I don't know fully how it's going to work or how it's going to play out, but it's something. It's turning into definitely a there that she's trying to use. She's threatening him. She's publicly, very stupidly, publicly threatening him that if you don't do this, I'm going to do this. And I'm pretty sure there's an amount of money that she will shut up. I won't put out these sex tapes, and I will shut up on social media if thus and so is met. So it is extortion. It is. So it's no getting around that. It is no getting around that. However, in other news, why ain't that playing? Pay close attention to what's being said here. You can't pay close attention to what's being said here because I don't got the volume on. Now they're telling me the video has no sound. That means I need to refresh and pause and sound it. What in the holy hell is going on? Oh, they doing me dirty out here. Hold up. They doing me dirty. They is doing me dirty.
Hold up.
I think I know what's going on. It's this weird thing that it does. It's this weird.
Hold up.
And I will get it right. Hold on. Give me 1 second. That was basically a story of a boy who took the air out his dad's tires. He slashes. He slashed his dad's tires and filmed himself doing it. And I am having the damnedest of times pulling that up. Here we go. All right, here we go. Now I got it. Now I got it. Do apologize. Do apologize for the inconvenience right there. All right.
By stabbing your dad's tire.
It just did it again. I apologize. Okay. We may have to just skip that one because it is acting terrible. It is acting absolutely terrible. Nothing is working. Nothing is working. Nothing is working. Hold on. I have no idea why it's doing that. Even the other stuff I got in the chamber ready to go is showing no sound. And it shouldn't be doing that. All right. No, let that play. Play that for a second. And it still ain't working. So we gonna move the hell on from that. We're gonna move the hell on from that.
Father in your child's life and you're still put on child support, here's how you can write it off on your taxes. So first thing you need to do is go to LLC University and set up your business. You want to set up your LLC the proper way. Next, you want to hire your kids into your business. As long as your kids are doing legitimate work in the business, you can hire them and pay them tax-free. Next thing you want to do is go to greenlight.com. This is an amazing website to let you set up easy, friendly debit cards for kids. Now that the debit card is set up, next thing you want to do is, as long as you pay them less than the standard deduction, which is $13,850, the children receive the money tax-free and you get a tax deduction in the process. If you want to learn more, go to thetaxfreeclass.com or comment the word class below to join me for my free training. See you there. Let's get it.
I like it. I like it. Sometimes why you say shaking your head? He's giving brothers some game. All right. Create an LLC, create a business. We all know these black businesses, these single solopreneur black businesses don't be having no employees, be barely making money, be taking a bigger loss and write off on taxes as is. Yeah, like that's to me, that's legit. You gotta know what you're doing and make sure that you don't slip up and do nothing too stupid. You gotta make sure you don't do nothing too stupid in the process. But yeah, you could actually pull that off. You could actually hire them and pay them the amount of pay them the amount on paper, the amount that the child support is, write that off, call it even, call it a split draw. That is hellified game. I approve that message. When they talk a lot about, because they talk a lot about, oh, when black women own more businesses than black men. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, no, they technically don't. I mean, they technically do, but they technically don't. The money that they make from it is next to nothing. The money that they make from them is next to nothing. When it comes to the money made in black businesses, 70% of that is businesses owned by black men, actual real businesses. But women be starting LLCs on a whim. It's all those little online. Y'all know y'all see them in y'all Instagram reels and YouTube shorts, and that's the black people trying to LLC their way into generational wealth and all that. Just going solo entrepreneur LLC it. That's how we do. Not a real actual vertical business, but solopreneur LLC. I be clowning that, even though it's good and legitimate benefit to it. It's good and legitimate benefit to it when you can figure out ways to work that system to your advantage. Even if you don't got an actual business that's making actual money, there are little ways within the system to work the system to your advantage, and we always be talking about the system. You know, the system is holding us back. The system is oppressing us. But Black people who figure out how to work that system tend to not be complaining as much about the system. Now, what happens is the Black people who figure out how to work the system, you know, they try to it's like they figure out how to grift the system, then they get a little grifty with their own people. You know, they figure out how to get a little grifty on the system, then they get grifty with their own people. Buy my course, I'll teach you how to you know, how to mine how to mine Krypton on, and you know, I'm not even gonna put, I don't even got that video ready to go. If you know the mining Krypton, you know, mining kryptonite. They got the LLC. They got the LLC, and they teach you, you know, how to do this, and you do that, and you do this, and you do that thing, and do this and the other thing, and you get an unlimited line of credit, and you get this, and you get that, and you do this other thing, and you could buy this, and you could do this, and you could do that, and there's like so many different steps in the equation that they make sound real good on a live stream. They make it sound real good on a live stream or on a YouTube video, and then you sign up, and then you find out that it was a few steps in the equation where it ain't really quite as good, but you gave them your money, but you did learn something, but it didn't really, kind of overpromised and underdelivered, but you did learn something. It's like, you know, it just turned into that kind of thing, and then Black people start turning their nose up to it. Then Black people start turning their nose up to it. It's like, oh, forget all this. It's just a bunch of niggas trying to scam niggas. But no. Try to learn the game on ways to cheat and work that system when it comes to the LLCs. Definitely do that. Definitely do that. I definitely support and approve that message. Definitely support and approve that message. So shout out to this brother here. Shout out to this brother here. The last thing I'll get into before I dive into the main topic, and actually, I don't need no sound for this one. The sound, for whatever reason, the sound on Instagram is not working. But you know what? I don't need no sound for this one. We're going to do this one without sound. Because, yeah, okay, we know we recently, yes, y'all seeing it right on the screen. Y'all know we recently was talking about Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade and everything, and he admitted, I ain't got no control over her. I can't tell her what to do now. Some people would argue that these men, these successful, rich men who are public figures, don't mind their nearly 50-year-old wife walking around with their ass out. They try to convince us that Russell Wilson don't care about his wife's, you know, ass being all over the internet. They'll try to convince us, hey, Dwayne Wade don't care, you know, when you're really secure and strong in your masculinity, this type of stuff don't bother you. You know, they'll try to convince us of that. But what I see is a man, I see somebody who's lost control of the classroom. That's what I see. D Wade is about 42, 41. How old is D Wade? He's about 41. I think D Wade is about my age. His wife is 49. Decade older than him. And she just walking around with her ass out. But as they say, if you're strong and secure in your masculinity and who you are as a man, you don't care about your 50-year-old wife walking around with her ass out. You know, she's doing that to she's trying to compete to get a role. She trying to get a role in a movie. You know, to opposite Michael B. Jordan in some romantic comedy. She gotta outcompete Chloe Bailey for that role. So she gotta have her ass out too. That's what it is. She ain't advertising for other potential suitors. No. She ain't parading around saying, "Oh, I didn't get what Taraji P. Henson doing." What Taraji P. Henson doing? She got the X doesn't mark the spot on her titties. X normally marks the spot. That X tells you where to stay away from. That X she got on her X usually marks the spot that you're trying to get to. on a map. This is a map in reverse. The X the X is where you avoid on this map. That's what's going on there. That's what's going on there. Freeman Jordan says she trying to get access to the casting couch. The X for sour milk. Yeah. Yeah. But we got to roll the Simpsons drop for Dwayne Wade as well. We got to roll that one. Osama Abdu says Zion and athletes need to go SYSBM ASAP. I'm not sure that will help them. Reason being is because if he's getting that entangled with strippers, porn stars, OnlyFans, thoughts, and the whole works, if he's getting that entangled with them, if he goes SYSBM, he's just going to transfer from the black ones to the he's going to transfer from the black ones to the basically to the ones who the white version of that, if you understand what I'm saying. The type of IG OnlyFans Insta baddies that be on Fresh and Fit in the whatever podcast. You know, he's going to transfer from them to them. Basically, he's going to be doing the same thing, just all his tricking money is going to no longer be in the community. That's about it. We about to be reviewing the Dr. Umar Johnson video. I'm sure Dr. Umar is okay that if Zion Williams is going to be tricking like that, you got to keep that money in the community. He got to keep that money in the community. Keep it there. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But I am super confident that that until a whole mentality change takes place, we're not going to see anything different out of them. We're not going to see anything different out of them. It ain't just they need to deal with white women. And no, they'll deal with the white equivalent. That's what they'll go right to. He'll looking at all those women that he messed with, he'll go right to a white woman with a BBL who making money off her BBL. He'll go right to that. So no, no, that SYSBM is just not just a simple, quick answer for him. Now, if he changes his whole mentality and what he's trying to deal with and what and how he's going to move regarding women and the whole works, like, yeah, he needs to do that. And when he does that, he'll probably find himself opened up to some women that ain't out here on some bullshit who are also not black. He will find himself there. But if you just say go SYSBM, it's like, hold up on that one. Hold up. And shout out to who we got here. He says, you always doing shame, blame, and explain. Like I said many, many times, my audience is 95% men. Not necessarily shaming women. I'm talking to men about the shameful things that women do so they can move accordingly. But if you have some issue, sir, with women feeling shame from hearing my content, if you don't want women to be shamed, then God damn it, put on a pussy hat, join the slut walk. You know, goddamn, like there's a space for you. You can go there. You can do that.
This is madness! This is Sparta!
Osama Abdu in the building says, a link for Umar video you're referring to, please. Are you talking about the one that I'm about to review, or when I said Umar would be okay with, you keeping the tricking money in the community? Because I made that video up. That one doesn't exist. I was just talking shit right there. But
these last $2, I'm not gonna
I was just talking shit right there. But the video that I'm about to review is certainly a video where Umar Johnson was on the Daily Wrap-Up crew. They dropped a lot of content, like right when I thought I seen it all, I found out that I didn't. Because they put out a lot of different Umar videos. So I thought I saw all of it, but I didn't. Because they dropped they had probably a 4-hour sit down with Dr. Umar Johnson, and they spliced that up to like 60 different pieces of content. I ain't mad at them. That's how you do it, keeping it real. That's how you do it. But they spliced that up big time. So I didn't see this one. I didn't see this one at all, but here we go. Let me get this right. Why is that acting so funny? It always do that. All right, I got to fix that. All right, let's get ready to go. This is Dr. Umar Johnson on the Daily Wrap-Up crew. The good brothers. They do good work over there. They do excellent work over there. I like the show. I don't watch it all the time, but when I do watch it, I am entertained by it. I think they represent, to me, the Daily Wrap-Up crew, they represent essentially the black men whose platforms are essentially an outgrowth of the black manosphere. When this type of content got popularized, a lot of people, put a different spin on it. Pre-black manosphere, if those guys, or guys like them were to just say, hey, we're going to start a podcast having conversations between men and women, it probably would have been a little more simpish. It probably would have been. I think the belly of the beast of the black manosphere has shown the way to where when black men do content, when they're talking about the social dynamics between men and women, it's changed the game to where they speak as they speak as men. They speak as men. They don't placate or kowtow to the women. They don't kowtow to the women. They don't bend the knee. They don't do that. And I love that. So I salute these brothers running a good platform over there. But they brought Dr. Umar Johnson in, sat down with Dr. Umar Johnson. It's some interesting stuff that I'm not going to get into, but they asked him about the school at the end of this video. I more than likely won't make it into that, but it was interesting. It was interesting. I'll just say that much. But all right, let's get into it. Let's go.
Black woman can have sex whenever she wants.
Right.
Women to scapegoat us for problems caused for her by white supremacy.
So, obviously, a big thing, obviously, we spoke about the gender wars, earlier. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation nowadays of
Let me back it up a little more. I don't got my
women to view black men as the enemy.
It has. Feminism was financed by the CIA. Gloria, what was her name? Gloria Steinem, I think she was.
Right, yeah.
Mother of modern feminism, because traditional feminism goes back to the 1800s, right?
This is where Umar agrees with a lot of stuff that we say. He just arrives at different conclusions. And I'm not saying that BGS is no different than Umar, but that's what you noticed in that conversation on Saturday when BGS was on, where BGS, he agrees with us on a lot of things. That's why I'm not at war with BGS like some of y'all pretend to be. He just arrives at a different conclusion on some stuff, particularly some stuff politically. He arrives at a different conclusion politically. Umar Johnson agrees with us on the foundation of a lot of things, but he arrives at a different conclusion, not just politically, but socially and culturally, and when you do that, what did Dolomite call it? The collective sweep 22 play that he kept running. That's where he arrives at his different conclusions, So pay attention to that. But it's about to get into some. It's about to get into some fuckery. All right, just fair warning. You know, this was a respectful conversation between them where he did try to browbeat them a little bit in some moments. But I mean, hey, men talking, men, you know, they gonna go at it. They kept it clean, kept it respectful. But yeah, but no, it was a good conversation. But he smuggled in a lot of he smuggled a lot of bullshit under the table. But we about to get into it. Let's go.
With Susan B. Anthony and those white supremacists. But Gloria Steinem was a CIA agent. They financed her. Her first feminist magazine they paid for. The CIA brought feminism into the white household to get the woman out the house and into the black household to turn the black woman against the black man. To scapegoat us for problems caused for her by white supremacy.
So, you know, obviously, you know, a big thing, obviously, we spoke about the gender wars, you know, earlier. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation nowadays about, you know, the value of what a woman brings and the value of what a man brings in a relationship. And now there's a lot more rhetoric from our women that we hear is, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, right? So,
that's pain speaking, though.
Right.
Because most black women know they will never get a man. A black woman can have sex whenever she wants.
Right.
Because she's beautiful. She can have a bed mate, but to have a soul mate, she may never get. I have 2 daughters, 11 and 20, right? My oldest will be 21 this week. Statistically, right? There's a strong chance my daughter could be one of those. I hope she's not. She could be one of those who never get a husband because only 1 out of 4 gets a husband. You see that? So when a black woman says, I don't need a man, that is a reaction to the reality that I may not get a man.
So to sum up, to translate or sum up what he's saying to how I would analyze it is that it's more of a cope. It's more of a cope. They're understanding that, you know, they might not get one. So they're saying they don't need one. The nuance to that shit is that, and he acknowledged this, that they can get a man in their bed all the time. But if they can get a man in their bed all the time, you know, if they can get an ain't shit man in their bed, they probably could get a decent one in their bed. So they have options to be around the type of men that they want to be around. Not the best possible man they would like to be around, but one that would actually, you know, who has, you know, bare minimum competent and you know, who's competent and willing to commit to them. Like they can get that. They can get that. So when you acknowledge that, you're acknowledging that somewhere baked into the cake is that they don't want that, or they only want that in a certain particular type of. I ain't about to get into that. I ain't about to get too deep into that. But you're acknowledging that they could essentially get what they want. They're just not getting it because they don't want it. So you're trying to say that they know that they'll never get it as if it isn't there. But if they can get a man in their bed, if you acknowledge that, then you're basically saying that they know when they're just choosing to do what they want to do, how they want to do it, when they want to do it. It's hard to get around that. It's hard to get around that. And obviously we know that some super successful man making 6 figures, they don't just grow on trees. They not all going to get that. But hell, all white women not going to get that. But for somebody who's just, you know, competent with decent character and willing to commit, that's available. You can't tell me that ain't available. So if they can get a man in the bed whenever they want, they're telling me that they're not interested in it. It's telling me that they're not interested in it, and that's okay. They can go that route. Then it turns into the scapegoat process of saying that, well, it's not happening because black men aren't good enough for them. Black men are not being the type of man that they need them, that the women need them to be. That's where the bullshit gets smuggled in. If you just be a better man, if you just tap dance in the top hat harder, then God damn it, these women will act right. They'll act just like those women overseas at your passport and to go see. If you just tap dance a little harder, that's where the conversation is going to go. That's where these conversations always end up going. But let's go.
Why not preach? Because I understood, you know, you're obviously against interracial relations when it comes to black men with black women. I mean, with white women.
With all women, you should only be with the black woman.
And you will say, well, if you can't find a good woman in America,
go somewhere else.
In Africa.
Absolutely.
So why not teach that same rhetoric to our women? Like, if you feel like
I tell sisters all the time, go to Africa.
So
I know sisters who marry. I just spoke with a sister. She invited me to the wedding. She just married a brother from the continent.
So, but instead of saying they will never get married,
I'll take sisters to Africa who married brothers they met in Africa.
Right.
So yeah,
I think there's plenty. I think there's obviously plenty of black men,
yes,
black women. So
and what I also tell black women,
if
you're going to go get you an African man from the continent,
right,
you're going to have to understand that the way in which you talk to black men in America will not be tolerated over there.
Why the fuck? Hold on. Let's back that one up. Let's back that one up.
Tell black women, if you're going to go get you an African man from the continent,
right,
you're going to have to understand that the way in which you talk to black men in America will not be tolerated over there.
Why the fuck is it tolerated?
It's not tolerated here. That's what we try.
The dude, I think that was the light-skinned brother in the Yankees hat, said, "Well, why the fuck is it tolerated over here?" That's what I said. These are good brothers. They on the right side. They're on the right side of the argument. You're going to notice in this, like I said, Dr. Umar Johnson's goal here is to try to get brothers like this for the whole gender war. He's trying to get them to drop their weapons while he's still firing off rounds. He's trying to get them to ceasefire, wave the white flag in the so-called gender war, but Dr. Umar Johnson, the gender war needs to end. But he's clearly picked his side. He's a general in one of in the sisterhood army at that point, firing off hella rounds, but trying to get them to drop their weapons. That's what's about to be happening here. But these brothers did the right thing. He said, Dr. Umar was like, I tell sisters that if you're dealing with a brother from the continent, the type of stuff that you do here, it ain't gonna be allowed. And then they had the exactly 100% right answer. Then the shit is not allowed here. That 1 in 4 that will find a life partner, the reason it's only 1 in 4 because I would argue that black men are saying no, we're not allowing for that shit. Y'all are ending up with somebody who's going to allow for it, or they're going to be equally as use that word toxic and abusive, and y'all gonna have some Cleon Wrangle the Banshee mating tournament every night. It's like so no, it's not being brothers ain't going for it over here, and that's part of the reason why they so damn single.
On the continent,
right?
You're gonna have to understand that the way in which you talk to black men in America will not be tolerated over there.
Why the fuck is it tolerated? It's not tolerated here. That's what we're trying to tell them.
Well, over here, I want to say this to us though, because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for. Let's be honest.
Whenever you get a pro-black on the ropes, whenever you get them on the ropes in one of these conversations, they got to go digging into the historical context. We got to go dig deep into history. We got to go back to Jim Crow. We got to go back to slavery. We got to go back to Kemet. It does not fail. Those brothers was making perfect sense. Was making absolutely 100% perfect sense. And he had to, but there's a historical context as to why. Now let's break that down. Let's break that down. You called it the whole step, 2-step. I see you, Dark Knight mentality. Called it the whole step, 2-step. Right on. Thank you, everybody supporting the stream. Shout out to Tom Chambers in the building. With the $2 super chat. $2 super chat. I do appreciate that. Thank you for putting something on it. Appreciate you. Here's the deal. If you say, because he encourages women, and that excuse me, truth be told, that is a pro-black thing to do. Encourage the sisters to expand their dating options to all the other places on earth where black people are at. Okay, that's a pro-black thing to do. I get, that makes sense. In the internal logic of Dr. Umar Johnson, that makes sense. But then he cautions them that they're not going to be able to talk to those men the way that they talk to the men here, which means he understands that the way that they talk to the men here is a problem. But then when the men here saying, no, we're not going for them talking to us like that, he say, but hold on, you got to understand there's a historical context to that. So essentially what he's saying is that other men of not just other black men, but other men of other races can have the balls, can have the testicular fortitude to say, no, we ain't about to be disrespected or talked to any crazy kind of way. But you, American black man, you got to deal with that. You got to stand in it. You got to take all that on the chin. You have to do that. That's essentially his argument. That's what I say. The bullshit is going to get strong with this. Is going to get real strong because the argument essentially is that put up with nonsense, accept less. That's essentially what he's doing. He's telling brothers wholesale to just to be on, just basically just preach and be weak and docile. Be weak and docile and accept it and understand it, because there's a historical context. And until everything, basically, he's going to essentially make the argument that I said that a lot of women, a lot of the Cynthia G's of the world essentially has made the argument that black women are justified in doing whatever they do, treating black men however they treat black men, until you Negroes find the XY coordinates of white supremacy on a map and storm it like the beaches of Normandy and overtake it, overthrow the country, and then we might respect you. But then you're going to hear our mouth because it took what took so damn long. Like no. That's essentially what's happening there. But shout out to we got Kenneth Williams in the building with a $2 super sticker. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you for coming on through. You and Tom Chambers coming on through, putting $2.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Appreciate you. All right. Let's get into it.
Be honest, the black woman has had to hold down the black house by herself, although imperfectly. She's had to do it by herself since the mass incarceration of black males began in the 1970s. You understand me? Most of our children are raised by a single mother right now, and it has been that way for about 50 years.
All of the men that he's talking to, they appear to be in their, I mean, if I gave them early 30s, I'm probably pushing it. They're probably mid to late 20s, and that might be pushing it. I mean, they don't look no older than 25. So I'm going to give them around 25, 26, maybe 27. I'm going to give them that. But if we talking 25-year-old men in his 2020s, like we're talking about men who was born in, late 90s. All right. We're talking about men and women who are born in the late 90s. They're talking to a lot of young chicks who many of them don't even have kids yet. Of course we know a lot of them do, but there's a significant portion of them that don't even got kids yet. Them talking their age demographic if they're around 25. So it turns into a goofy thing. Like it's almost like these are like Gen X problems. And Gen X is like moving into like I said, like grandmama territory. We talking about a generation of black people who didn't experience that shit. We're talking a generation of younger black women who they didn't have to raise a family by themselves. They haven't done that. They didn't have to, they weren't carrying big buckets of water uphill on their head so the kids can have some clean drinking water. Like no. Like, cut it out. Like, yes, there's some historical things that has happened. And even if I accept the argument that some of the history caused a lot of the tension or the points of contention between black men and black women, okay, all right, acknowledging that. But it's people 30 years old who who didn't experience what y'all talking, what he talking about. Like, come on.
So when his sister says, I don't need a man, because she couldn't find one strong enough to hold her down. Or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm strong enough to be a man. You ain't her a single mother right now. And it has been that way for about 50 years. So when his sister says, I don't need a man, because she couldn't find one strong enough to hold her down. Or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm
how strong do you got to be to hold somebody down who's at the bottom? Okay, that was dirty. That was wrong. That was a low blow. That was a low blow. It like, I'm just saying, I don't understand what that means. She couldn't, she encounters a man. She can't find one strong enough to hold her down. You're going to see the double talking. You're going to see the double talking when he's saying they can find one strong enough to hold them down. All right. They couldn't find one strong enough to hold them down. They're going to get into a Pookie and Ray Ray discussion, which I hate. They're going to get into that. It is going to be weird, but just, but we're going to see where this go. We're going to see where this go. I don't want to give away too much too early. Pharrell 777773 says the good doc is a lame Pookie and Ray Ray. Shout out to you. Appreciate the $2 super chat. And also shout out to Marcus Contrail Hart in the building with a $2 super sticker. Do appreciate that. Do appreciate you brothers coming on through supporting the stream. Do appreciate you coming on through supporting the stream. All right. Thank y'all for dropping $2 on
These last $2.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right. Let's get into it.
strong enough to be a man. You ain't got to work or you ain't got to pay the bills or whatever. Pull back. I got you. And she can't do it because all the other men before you who disappointed her. So what I'm saying is, black men, we got to be patient with our women because we created that personality. We created that. And then we want to act like.
Okay, so even if we accept the premise that older men from previous generations, like let's just say the boomers, created that mentality or helped facilitate that mentality in black women, you're saying Z gotta accept bullshit from a woman who haven't even went through the stuff that women coming out of the 70s, 80s, and 90s who were, you know, I'm talking adults in 70s, 80s, and 90s and early 2000s gotta deal with. You gotta keep in mind, I was born in 1982. I became an adult in the year of 2000. Like, we got to put this in perspective. I became an adult in the year of 2000. All right. Now, the era that I was born into, it was a bad era. That was, them was the 80s. I was a kid. I didn't know what was going on. In the 90s, you still, it was still, gangs and some crack and all kind of stuff still there and kind of going on. But by the time I was an adult in 2000s, we were stepping kind of into a new world by then. We were stepping into a new world by the time I became an adult. Women in the 2000s, these were no battle-scarred, battle-tested, civil rights surviving. These ain't women who survived the mass incarceration of black men. No. So that's why that just never sticks with me. Again, these are Gen X problems. These are Gen X problems. It's a lot of Gen X women who, even if we accept the premise on everything, a lot of black men was locked up, was out there, doing all kind of shit in the 80s, and the 80s was fucked up. We accept that, and the women turned out a certain way, and they raised a daughter a certain way. That the men today, and I'm speaking as one born 1982, became an adult in 2000. So let alone the ones who was born in 1982 and became adult in 2010. I mean, I'm sorry, one's born 1992 and became adult in 2010. That's a whole like no. These They're not the women they're dealing with don't got these battle scars. So it's like so essentially he's telling these men that they need to accept less and accept disrespect from modern women today, because these women's mothers and grandmamas went through a lot, partially at the hands of black men. That's the argument.
Like we didn't play a role.
We have to be held accountable for their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable. No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection. See, what you're saying, you're selecting a poor mate. And what I'm saying is they don't have much to select one, so of course you're going to end up with a poor mate. And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need. We are not.
All right. Now, we're going to get into what he means by raising them, because I got that in the thumbnail. By raising them, he means black boys that already exist from that poor selection, that poor crop of selection, where they got knocked up by, they're going to bring Pookie and Ray Ray into the conversation pretty soon. They got knocked up by Pookie and Ray Ray. They made that poor selection because Dr. Umar Johnson made the Cynthia G argument that the crop was so bad that that's all they had to get pregnant by. And so what he's saying is that the decent men among us who were available, well, they, those men need to go dive on the grenade, either via stepdaddy or just community daddy, and raise the children by the men that they chose to have sex with and get pregnant by. That's essentially his argument. That's essentially his argument. It's not that they made a bad choice, it's because there was nothing but bad choices there. So we need to go and dive on the grenade of the choice. But if there are men to go dive on the grenade of that choice, that means that there were better choices available. They just chose to get knocked up by the guy who was the wrong choice. Now, the black manosphere is taking a lot of disingenuous criticism from people who criticize a lot of the arguments when we're talking about who women choose. But you got to understand, a lot of the arguments that are made against black men, and there's one thing that we do in this space, is we debunk, dispute, and can completely eviscerate and dismember a lot of the criticisms that are thrown out there about black men. That's one thing that we do. We do a male-centric counterpunch to the female-centric propaganda against black men, and Dr. Umar, unfortunately, is propagating some of that. Unfortunately he is. He defends black men on something. Well, he defends black men when it's a white man involved, but when it's a black woman involved, then it's the black man's fault. If it's a white man involved, then it's the white man's fault. It's like the blame goes uphill, so to speak. So that's pretty much how it works. However, if the men are going to be, tasked with diving on that grenade to fix these women, to fix the children that these women are raising by themselves, and they're raising those children by themselves, and that's a product of the selection of the crop. I'm repeating what I said so I can get back to my point. If the men are there to dive on the grenade, that means that man was also there to be with her. Had she not, that means that man was there to be with her. Had she act like she had some damn sense, or maybe she do act like she got some damn sense, but she chose the ain't shit dude over somebody who was worth a damn. Now we get criticized for talking about who they choose, because some people did come from that argument from the standpoint of they should be fucking me instead of this dude. Because they come to that argument from a position of lack. I come to that argument from a position of I'm going to diffuse the propaganda and the bullshit. And a lot of the shit that we see happening in the community, when we know the results of what happened when women raise children by themselves, we see the statistical outcomes of that shit, and them raising children by themselves is a reflection of the men that they are getting pregnant by. It's like you can't get around that argument. The who they're choosing to get pregnant by argument is one that they really can't work around. They really can't. But we get criticized when we call that out. But the mere fact that you're saying that the men in the community need to go and save these children, that means that there are decent men in the children with father qualities. It's like, so you can't have both of those arguments. You can't.
They out there killing themselves right now. What we doing about it? Unemployed black males, what we doing about it? Pants sagging, weed smoking, what we doing about it? Black men are not raising black boys to be the men our community needs. That is one.
Yeah, I understand that he's advocating for essentially what BLM talks about, the communal parenting thing, where it's not man, woman, child, but it's just a community to take care of kids. Because if decent men among us go and dive on the grenades and start trying to basically do a massive collective mentorship program, then the women are also incentivized to do the same thing, because there's going to be a community stepdaddy bailout at the end of the tunnel. So they're just going to be doing the same thing. And then the men are just going to be continuously diving on the grenade, doing the community stepdad. And yes, you're going to save that crop of men, but they're going to go and do the same thing. They're still going to do the same thing. They're going to get pregnant by a man who they have that, little to no intentions on being with. They get pregnant by that man, and then they go forward and they have that kid by themselves, and they're raising the kid wrong. And now the next generation of community stepdaddies got to go dive on the grenade and save these kids. It's like, as long as that bailout plan is there, it's going to keep repeating the process, and the black community is going to look more or less how it looked. It's going to be men raised, young boys raised by women, growing up and not being men in the way that they should be men. And then we're going to be trying to shake black men into, act right, do this, do that. But no, it starts at home. It starts at home with who you start a home with, and it's no way around that.
100% our fault. What I'm saying is she got a right to be angry with us. She got a right to be angry with us. We have not been on our job as black men. If the men are the providers, what have we been providing for our community? I'm not speaking you individually.
Yes.
Because you may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. But guess what? What are we doing for the community?
See, that's that collective 22 sweep play. You may be a good father. You may be a decent man. But what are you doing? What are you doing for the larger scale collective? That's what he's on. That's what he's on. Thank you, January man. BGS, the person that y'all don't like, he actually touched on this a lot, that how they want black men to save the community. He said they already did. The Gen X men became stepdaddies at an astronomical rate. They already dove on those grenades. It didn't fix the community. So yeah, those grenades were dove on. The conservative says he thinks he wants to fight Dr. Umar Johnson. Yeah, it might be a good fight. All right. Gregory Scotland in the building says, salute Bernard. Is very much like Dr. Umar and Courtney Michelle pushing the clean bros and save the community crap. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. That was smaller on my screen. Let me read that again. Hold on. It says, salute Bernard. It is very with the likes of Dr. Umar and Courtney Michelle pushing the clean bro and save the community crap. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. We got, who else we got in here? All right, we got Gregory Scotland once again. He says, Bernard, it was BS in the 1980s. There were many of us who were not on the crack crap, who had it together, but there were still boomer and Gen X women being stupid. I agree with that. But even if we accept the premise, even with accepting the premise, we still could fast forward from, there's a whole gen, like these are men born in the 90s dating women born in the 90s and early 2000s. Like, let that sink in. That's why I'm saying a lot of these problems are Gen X problems that are dying out. Gen X is somewhere between 43 and 58 at this point. Like, we're talking about a really old cohort of people. I mean, not a really old cohort. I mean, I'm almost in that cohort. I'm 41. I turned 42 this month. I just missed being a Gen X. Just missed it. I missed being a Gen X by like a year and some change, or maybe 2 years. Not 100% sure. Forget how it works, but yeah. Black women choose Pookie over real black men by default. Come on. You know, lots of women of all races, you know, get it in, hook up, have sex. There's a hookup culture, you know. Maybe it's more pronounced with black people, but either way it go, I'm pretty sure white girls are getting ran through in college. They're getting pregnant less. It is what it is. It is what it is. All right, let's get back into it. Let's get back into it.
What are we doing for the children who don't have a father? You don't think we're doing for the community? Damn good father. You may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father, but guess what? What are we doing for the community? What are we doing for the children who don't have a father? You don't think the black woman got a right to be angry when she's been raising 2/3 of the kids by herself for 50 years? And the minute she...
Whenever you start talking about collective arguments to where you're justifying the actions and behaviors of a woman who's 26 years old, who's been an adult, who's been an adult for 8 years. You're saying she got a right to have a bad attitude because she has been raising most of the children by herself for the last 50 years. That's where the arguments break down. Where you're justifying women in their 20s, women in their early and mid 30s for burdening the responsibility of something for 50, 60 years that they haven't even been an adult long enough to burden it for that long. We're talking about people who became adults in the 2000s. Like, that's how much time has gone by here. That's where the arguments get ridiculous. That's where the collective thing becomes just a tour to gaslight black men into doing whatever black women, whatever you need black women, whatever it is that black women want. The collective thing becomes a tool to try to gaslight black men into doing that, to being at the whim of black women who are making free choices in the 21st century.
We raise our voice, we say she's not humble enough. She had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
I understand that, but she needs to be
If we was
more
loving
selective.
our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that? That personality has a history.
If she's picking Pookie and Ray Ray instead of...
You're making her a scapegoat.
No, she's picking a scapegoat.
No.
There's good quality men that they ignore.
Why she even got it? Why?
And the brother is making fair points. I don't know these guys' names. The Daily Wrap-Up Crew. Shout out to them. He's making a fair point right there. He's basically saying, I'm a man today. I got my shit together. I got my head on straight. I got to bear the burden of her choices that she's making. You know, Umar is going to argue, well, why does she have that option?
Why is there even a Pookie in the selection?
You got to ask Heaven.
No. I'm going to tell you why there's a Pookie in the selection.
Why?
Because black men have abandoned black boys and have allowed social media, white media, athletes, and rappers to raise them. That's why she with Pookie. If we never allowed Pookie to develop, she would not have a Pookie. If we're going to be men, the first thing we got to do is take responsibility for why our women...
Now, what it would come down to, and this is why all roads lead back to who they're choosing. But he's saying it don't matter. That shouldn't be a choice right there, because men should not allow that type of man to prop up and exist. Now, people who talk like them tend to make all the excuses in the world for that type of man who exists. Let's just make that very clear. They make all the excuses in the world for the existence of that man. What he is saying, now, if he was talking about fathers raising their own children, he would have a point. But he's not talking about that. Because if he talks about fathers raising their own children, then the burden has to go back on the woman on who she's choosing to have children by. But he's not talking about them raising their own children. He's talking about when he say black men abandoning black boys, he's talking about black men who have not impregnated these women going to save on the Save the Community mentorship, collective mentorship mission to basically essentially raise these children that's not your own children. He's basically saying that the end result of that is they do what they want to do when they want to do it, with who they want to do it with, and make whatever bad decision they're incentivized to make, that they're subsidized to make, that they will continue to make. It does not matter. Go dive on the grenade, fix the problem. Shout out, gotta shout out Obsidian with the term community eunuch. Go be a community eunuch and fix those problems. That's what's being asked.
Women feel the way they feel.
I can hear that.
I'm not saying that they're right to disrespect, because even if a woman disrespects me, right, that still don't give me a right to disrespect her, because she's still the queen of the community. Even if she's not acting like it, I'm going to give her that respect. But when I hear brother community, saying for why our women feel the way they feel,
I can hear that.
I'm not saying that they're right to disrespect, because even if a woman disrespects me, right, that still don't give me a right to disrespect her, because she's still the queen of the community, even if she's not acting like it.
Now, do you remember at the beginning of the show, at the beginning of this conversation where I started playing it from, he made a wholesale 100% excuse. Wholesale 100% excuse for black women disrespecting black men. And you got to understand the history of why they do that. And he's told sisters that, hey, if you go and deal with a black man from another culture of black people, you not going to be able to talk to him the way you talk to American black men. And then those brothers rightfully said, well, why the fuck would they talk to us like that? And then he said, you got to understand the history. There's history behind that disrespect, that she's been raising kids. She's 27, but she's been raising kids by herself for 60 years. And that's why she's disrespecting you. It was justified. No ways around that. He justified the disrespect when it comes to black women to black men. But when it came to black man to black woman, no, hell no. You better not say anything disrespectful. She's the queen of the community. Do you get what I'm saying? Where he's on there with those brothers. They basically have a gender war channel where they just debate back and forth with women. He's saying, no, y'all got to end this gender war stuff. However, he's clearly chosen a side. Drop your weapon, wave the white flag, drop your weapons in the gender war. But he's the general on the front line, ain't dropped his weapons. No, he firing off hella rounds in the gender war. All right? Firing off hella rounds while telling them to drop their weapons. That's disingenuous. Because whenever you're arguing, making any argument whatsoever that says that women should be allowed, or black women should be allowed to disrespect black men, but black men under no circumstances can't disrespect black women because they're the queens of the community. Like, I'm sorry, you've left the building, and you know, as much as I do have faith and belief in a black school for black boys, should it ever open up, if somebody who says that is heading it, I'm like, how would it be any different from any type of feminist programming that they get in anywhere else? That's where I'm at with it. He does say later in the video that the school is going to start out just, you know, the first 3 to 5 years is going to be for black boys, but then they're going to incorporate girls. He did say that later in the video. So let that sink in, that black boys, should he ever get this thing open, black boys will probably be pushed to the back burner. Let's just call it.
I'm going to give it that respect. But when I hear brothers talk like this discourse we having now, we act like we don't understand.
No,
there's reasons for that shit.
I do understand. Women are so valuable. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think women ground men and help them, you know.
Shout out to Nat Channel in the building. Shout out to Nat Channel in the building. Do appreciate you. Says, so Umar in the hood doing what he talking about. See, what he's talking about is impossible because there's no true way. There's no true way to collectivize all that he's saying. It could happen in small pockets. But it's a problem that's big to the point to where nothing will be never enough, so it will never be done. So he'll always be able to hit black men over the head with the collective stick as long as there's any problem right there. That's why they have that mentality of all hands need to be on deck. That's why they have that mentality that no matter what, if there's any problem, then that it's not enough black men to have my exact ideology doing exactly what I think black men need to do. But shout out to you. Said, so is Umar in the hood doing what he's talking about, or is he saying we supposed to do it? Talk is cheap when saying what someone else should do. Absolutely. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Thank you for putting 5 on it. Carlo in the building says, yep, he definitely picked a side. Thank you for that. I believe that translates to a $10 super chat.
What do we get for $10? Everything you want.
Shout out to you, and shout out to Sir Tice. He says, last time I was on a panel roasting this clown, you thought I was being too harsh. Still think I was too hard of the Prince of Pandering, not Prince of the Prince of Pan Africa. No, okay. Given, I'm trying to think. What did we talk about that day? Damn it. I think he was going in. Well, put it like this: you was going in on a lot of stuff about him that wasn't really covered. So overall, no. I'll say no. You wasn't going too hard, but you was going hard. But now not too hard. It just I didn't even play the tapes. I didn't even play the money shot. You was going off on stuff that wasn't even presented. But if you already know the deal, then it's all good. It's all good. Shout out to you. This is even about to get more interesting.
So propel to the valuable. You
understand?
No,
There's reasons for that shit.
I do understand. Women are so valuable. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think women ground men and help them, propel to the next level. I think men get further in life with a woman, right? But if I'm a hardworking man, but I'm only looked at as resources,
okay,
and then she's ready to jump on Tom, Dick, and Harry because he got flash, he's shining a little bit more, his access to money is quicker than mine. It's kind of hard to have that.
Well, no, one, I agree with you, but that's not all sisters.
No, it's not.
If you're constantly running into that type of woman,
then
the problem is you, because you're attracting a certain low vibrational energy. Why
not have that same energy for women? You just again, you have
because
the man
we having a conversation as men.
Yeah,
I got plenty of interviews with all women where I check them too.
All right,
but as a man, you should not be concerned about what I say to them. No, as men, we should be
here. Now, listen. That what he just did right there. That was from the O.B. Allen school of I'm the only one that could check these women. That's what that was. He's basically trying to gaslight them out of weighing in on the problems with women. Y'all just need to focus on men. But when I talk to women, I can shoot it straight with them and tell them what they doing wrong and what they need to do. But y'all not allowed to do that because y'all don't know the historical context. That's essentially what that is. That's essentially what that is. And I like O.B. Allen. Respect to him. I do. I know some of y'all don't. I like what he do. When he's doing his analysis, his breakdown, not his analysis, his breakdown. When he's talking to those women and walking them through that questionnaire that he does, It's it's A1. It's A1 quality and exposes everything that we be saying. But when he talk to us, it's like y'all ought not be saying that. So Umar, on the other hand, is saying that don't be concerned about what I say to women. I hold women accountable. Don't be concerned about that. You need to only focus on this one thing. You focus on this one thing here. I could talk to them, but you got. It's like that's trying to deliberately position yourself as the leader and over everybody. When I talk to the men, I check the men, and I check them for trying to check the women. But when I talk to the women, I check the women, but I check them, but don't let them say anything bad about the men. But when I talk to the men, I'm going to defend the women, and I'm going to say everything bad about them unimaginable. It's like that's where to me that's where bullshit gets smuggled in. It's like, no, if you understand both sides of the argument, which one carries more weight? Which one makes more sense? And that's how you really do it. That's how you come to the conclusions, like where are we at here? That's how you come to the conclusions of what argument, what direction, what path are we going to go down? You weigh it all out. Okay. Average your historical average all the history into the equation. Average all that into the equation. Average everything that's happening right now into the equation. Average it all in. Put it all in the cocktail. Put it all in there. Put it all in the math equation. Do the math. What do you come up with? What is making more sense? That's what you do. But if somebody is going to say that, and I appreciate what you're saying right there, BJ said, Bernard, you can't find one video of him checking black women. Okay, there's that, when he got ambushed on Fox Soul, where they had Cynthia G and the woman Hope Gazelle on there. And if anybody listening and not watching, I had to use the air quotes on there. When he got ambushed by a trans woman that he didn't know was trans.
When women want things, especially when black women want things, we get up, we say something, we talk about it, and we're going to talk about it till we're blue in the face and until we get those things done. A lot of the times what I find is that black men think that
that's the chick right there. That's the chick right there that he got ambushed by. That's her. Him. See, the psyops, but that's the person. That's the person that he got ambushed by, and they were making a lot of anti-black male arguments, and he did argue. He did argue the black male side against them. So there's that. But he didn't really argue the black male side, because truthfully, they were saying that all the historical racism, white supremacy stuff was a bunch of bullshit. But he was really arguing victimhood. That's really what he was arguing. He was trying to get them to not be so hard on black men and understand the historical victimhood of everything that the black man has been through. And then when black men are arguing against the bullshit that black women are doing today, then he argues on behalf of the black woman's historical victimhood. So that's where that don't worry about what I said to them type of shit comes from. Don't worry about what I say to them. We're talking here as men. Like that's a high level of bullshit to me. That's a high level of bullshit to me. It's basically it's a clever tactic to position yourself as the leader in the whole net scheme of the conversation. Your men, don't be talking about the women. Only talk about what men need to do. That's why I said it's from the O.B. Allen school of, I'm going to talk to these women. I'm going to talk to them. Y'all keep their name out of y'all mouth. Keep their name out of y'all mouth. I'm going to talk to them. Y'all not qualified to do that. Y'all just worry about what men need to do. But I'm going to talk to them. It's trying to corner the market on all sides. It's around the corner of the market on all sides. Shout out to the great poet and philosopher Deacon Salty Balls in the building. Says scroll of logos 2 and 2. A certain realm, a sphere, a dominion, logic, reason, rhetorical discernment is currency. It is the medium by which one mines out hidden gems. Keep thine treasures close to the heart and enrich thy soul. Thank you very much, Deacon Salty Balls. We need an applause. We need an applause after the Deacon Salty Balls has spoken. I'm trying to find the here we go. I found it. I got it. I didn't mean to let it play for that long. I was trying to find. Now I can't even find my stuff. Go.
Suck on my chocolate salty balls. Put them in your mouth. Put them in your mouth and suck them and suck them.
Shout out to Deacon Salty Balls. Shout out to Deacon Salty Balls in the building. And shout out to Machismo TV. Well argued, sir. Thanks for the commercial. Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, I'll be playing. I played it at the beginning. I'll be playing it pretty soon. Try to play it at least 3 or 4 times per show periodically. We'll be trying to play it periodically 3 or 4 times per show. Actually, right now, this is not a bad break in action right now to go ahead and do it. It's not a bad break in action right now to go ahead and do it.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Make sure you go over there. The link is in the chat. Make sure you subscribe to that. And as I always say, I go over there like, the favorite content creators I know, and it's always good to just swing by there and give it a listen. Like it says, it plays clips, basically like ESPN, just going 24 hours playing manosphere clips all day. Catch up on a lot of things. So it's definitely a good channel to definitely be subscribed to. Definitely go over there and swing by it, check it out, hit that subscribe button. The link is in the chat room right there. Go and subscribe to Machismo TV. Go and subscribe to Machismo TV. Definitely. All right. Let's get into it.
Concerned of what we're going to do to produce a better generation of black males for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I got plenty of interviews with all women where I check them too.
All right.
But as a man, you should not be concerned about what I say to them. No, as men, we should be concerned of what we're going to do to produce a better generation of black males for tomorrow. That's the only.
See, if he's saying stuff to women and they're hearing what he's saying, it's basically like that's a dirty Mac on the fact that there's other men either talking to women or talking about women that is probably influencing the minds of men and women. He's trying to stop that. He's trying to call for the ceasefire so he can be the only one shooting.
That is where we should be focused.
Women bring the choice of life, right? We understand that, right? I can't have a child unless a woman agrees.
And she can't carry one if you didn't put it in her.
I agree with that 100% too, right? But whether or not, if you want that child or not, she can still make that decision. It's only up to her.
If you don't put a seed in her, nothing else happens. And no woman can make you put a seed in her. So the original act was the responsibility of a man.
True. I mean,
I agree with Umar on that one. I know some people in this space would disagree with his analysis on that. It is legally true that after conception happens, the woman has full, total, 100% control, can abandon, could abort the baby, can abandon it, could drop it off at the police station, have no financial responsibilities whatsoever. It's fucked up. But the fact of the matter is that's your seed that you put in somebody. So I agree with him on that. I'm not defending, not putting a cape on for them and their messed up actions and behaviors, but protect your seed at all costs. That's all. That's all I'm saying. That's why I never liked that financial abortion argument, because it advocates for not protecting your seed at all costs. It's basically saying let's get it set up to where you could impregnate a woman and then you could just sign some documents saying, sign away your rights, your financial responsibility and everything, basically financial abortion, and then you walk away and you're done. I support that only in the sense that they got so many weapons at their disposal that if it was on the ballot and I had to vote one way or another, I would vote in favor of it just to give us one weapon. Even though I don't like that weapon, I would support it, but it ain't nothing that I advocate for. I'll vote in favor of it just to give us one tool to use against them, but I can't advocate for that. I can't advocate for being reckless with your seed. That's your seed. It is what it is.
All right. So did black men willingly leave the household, or was it the system that was?
It was systemic.
All right. So how if we
we see the trap that he walking himself into. I think this brother's laughing right there because he already could see the trap that Umar kind of walked into. If you're going to justify, and this conversation started, those that just made it in late, the conversation started because it was talking about they went down this rabbit hole because it was talking about women having a bad attitude, black women having a bad attitude, and how they talk to black men. And then they start talking about intercultural dating. Shout out to Edward Anderson, popularized that term. Can't wait till we see Edward Anderson back. As I understand it, as I was told, as I heard, I haven't even heard any confirmation from him, so I tiptoe around saying this, but it's been out for a while. I think he lost his mom. He lost his mother. His mom died. I think that's part of the reason why he's been away. So definitely looking forward to seeing Ed back on the scene. But MTR lost his father very recently too. So RIP, RIP. Back to this. I don't do death very well. I don't even know what to say, But yeah, they're definitely going through it. I watched some of MTR's video when he talked about it. So yeah, it's all right. Getting back into it. Let me back up so I can remember where I was at before I start talking about that. But all right. Let me get back on it.
Nothing else happens, and no woman can make you put a seed in her. So the original act was the responsibility of a man.
True. I mean, all right. So did black men willingly leave the household, or was it the system that was?
It was systemic.
All right. So how, if we giving them grace for them having to do it without us, but it wasn't our fault, how are we not getting that same grace and that same respect?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Why?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because black men, as the leaders of the community, now
we can't be leaders.
Here's the question we got to make.
That?
Here's the question.
What he's saying right there, I don't like. He shouldn't have worded it that way, saying we can't be leaders. They're not accepting that. That's like it's almost saying that there's a job of leadership that I'm not capable of fulfilling. But leadership, you can't be a leader if nobody is following you. If somebody is saying there's a leader, they're a leader, then who's following them? If a woman is saying that men are the leaders, okay, what man are you following? Those are the right questions. So I think what the brother was to better word what he was trying to say is that these women are free and they do what they want, when they want, how they want to do it, and there's always going to be a bailout for them when they fail at doing what they want, how they want, when they want to do it with whoever they want to do it with. Thus, the reason that they're not choosing to follow a man. Umar is trying to argue that there should be some big overarching hive mind collective of something that they should be following, but truthfully, it's an individual man that they would have to follow. And that goes back to their choices of who they end up entangled with. It does go back to that. It does go back to that.
Because the argument y'all make feeds into the feminist agenda.
Okay.
It's an argument that says, I don't want the responsibility.
I'm a leader.
You see when he said we can't lead, the way I know what he was trying to say, but the way he worded it opened it up for Umar to do this judo on him right here.
I don't want to fix shit. Right? I'm gonna fall back and let her run everything. That's what the feminists tell. They say, look at them, making excuses for why they can't be better men, making excuses for why they can't make better men. You understand?
Notice that part right there, making excuses for why they can't be better men. Now, these guys, they're not making excuses why they can't be better men. And they're not making excuses of why they can't raise their sons to be better men. I think what they are making excuses for, what to understand, as to why they can't go and make other men's sons be better men. That's fair.
Argument feeds the feminist narrative.
That's not what we're making excuses for.
I'm saying I am the better man, but I shouldn't be held responsible because you wanted to choose a Pookie and a Ray Ray. That's not me. I worked too hard in my life.
Back to what I said. Pookie and Ray Ray.
There it is. He hit the nail on the head right there. And then now this is where Dr. Umar Johnson runs the I-42 Collective 22 sweep.
Choose a Pookie and a Ray Ray. That's what I'm saying. I am the better man, but I shouldn't be held responsible because you wanted to choose a Pookie and a Ray Ray. That's not me. I worked too hard in my life.
Back to what I said. Pookie and Ray Ray shouldn't exist. And the only reason why Pookie and Ray Ray exist because we're not in the community making those boys the men they need to be. Do you see that? And, she don't get a Pookie if you didn't allow a Pookie.
But she got an Eli. She ain't come to Eli. She went to Pookie. And that's what we're trying to say.
She wouldn't have.
See, it wouldn't be a Pookie if you didn't allow a Pookie, meaning that she got knocked up by one generation of Pookies, and then now it's some little Pookielets, some little Pooklets, Pookie, some little Pookie and Ray Rays getting raised. And what he's saying is they wouldn't mature to adulthood and be a problem unless you go and dive on that. If you go and dive on that grenade, they won't be a problem. So even right now, he's asking men in their 20s to, think collectively to the point to where you're diving on the grenade to help these young men. And so by the time you're 40, these young men are now in their 20s and they're better men. So the next generation of better women got better choices to make. But what they're talking about is, so what do we do right now? Umar's answer would have to logically be, based to follow the internal logic of what he's saying, you hold the L. You hold the L and you sacrifice for the community in hopes that it'll be better sometime in the future. Now, I understand the concept of men. I forgot whose quote it is. Men plant seeds for trees that will grow, that they will never sit in the shade of. I understand that completely. However, in the context that he's talking about it, nah. That's saying sacrifice your time, your life. He's basically saying, put up with an out-of-pocket chick right now, deal with her bad attitude. You should accept her bad attitude and everything, and how she treats you and how she talk to you because of the historical context and everything that she's been through. Accept that from a woman right now in this community, and while doing that, and while raising your kids with this woman, also go and mentor and dive on a grenade of the children of other women who got knocked up by dudes who aren't half as decent as you. Go do all of that, and then that will fix the community. We need all black men to be collectively on board, go and dive on these grenades. And it is an acceptable answer for a 25-year-old black man. A black man who's 30 years old to look at the overall collective of that solution, hear that word collective, and just say, no. No. I'm going to raise my children. I'm going to build community in my own house. I'm going to commune with like-minded men who do the same thing that I'm doing. More people need to do what I'm doing, and it will make sense. And then you probably see that better community that you want. But to ask more people to do what I'm doing, Umar don't want to go that route. The reason Umar don't want to go that route, because it will go back to what they said earlier in the argument, is the ancient niggas who they laying up with getting knocked up by. It will put onus on women to not get knocked up by them. See, he wants you to go dive on a grenade and save the next generation of soon to be ancient niggas versus women just not getting pregnant by the current generation of ancient niggas, and then another generation of ancient niggas wouldn't be raised. But if you're asking men to keep diving on the grenades, keep doing the stepdaddy dance, keep doing all of that, we see how that turns out. We see how that plays out. That hasn't produced any results. And then the black men just become a further extension of the system that incentivizes and subsidizes the behavior that black women have, that put them in the repetitive cycle of raising kids by themselves. And we know the outcomes when they raise them by themselves. So it's really a repetitive cycle that will put him in a repetitive state of looking at how messed up, how everything is going wrong in the black community. And we could blame the system, we could blame racism, we could blame the systemic racism and all of this and history and blah, 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 blah. It's just, it keeps it in a repetitive cycle. But a lot of the problems can accurately get fixed at home, household by household.
Had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
Hard in my life.
Right.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
But Dr. Umar,
Men supposed to make the raise the boys.
Right.
That's a I'm sorry, that's an SKC clip right there. She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
That's what we're trying to say.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow
too
one.
hard in my life.
Right.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
But Dr. Umar,
I can see SKC doing something with that. She wouldn't have had a Pookie if you didn't allow one. You wouldn't supposed to allow Pookie to exist. Oh man, that's classic right there. That is classic. That is classic. Oh man.
Men supposed to make the raise the boys.
Right. We as men is holding other men accountable for the same thing that you talking about right now.
What are we doing for the young brothers in the street? So
What you mean, mentoring them? Now, I mean, he's a great father.
Mm-hmm. I ain't talking about that's individual. That's good, but that's individualism. Yeah. What are we doing collectively as men to change the trajectory for black boys in the streets right now? Nothing.
We're being
but talking shit.
Yeah, I mean, you could take
it's not going to get better unless we put hands on deck. The reason the athletes and the rappers are the role models is the professional black man moved out the hood. Where the dentist at? He ain't in the black community no more. Where the lawyer at? Where the business owner at? Where your city council person at? We abandon black boys, and then we blame black men for poor choices in mates that they should not even have to make if we did a better job raising our boys the right way. At the end of the day, if I'm gonna call myself a man,
and he's saying keep in mind when he say raising our boys the right way, he's not talking about raising your sons in your house. He's talking about black men raising other people's kids. Like that was set up earlier. If you got here late, you missed the setup, because there's some internal logic in what he's saying. If you're talking about like, damn, I just realized, man, that homeboy got a whole boot on his. He broke his. That nigga tore his ACL or something. God damn. I just noticed that. The fuck he. Okay, I don't know why that's funny, but he's just sitting there arguing about wrangling banshees and shit, sitting there with a torn ACL, slipped meniscus or some shit. And he like, yeah, you black women, you leave these black women alone, man. He got into it with one of them women they be having on their show, Fresh and Fit, keep the camera rolling. They try to be decent and turn the camera off, man. Chick put him in a goddamn finger four leg lock after the show when they turn that camera off when they got to put chicks out. They edit it out when they got to put chicks out. One of them chicks had him in a finger four leg lock. He's sitting there with that damn boot on his foot. I don't know what the hell happened right there. But all right. It's worth pointing out that okay, here we go. The ACL is the knee. I'm just making a joke now. These is jokes. I don't know if he's a torn ACL, broken ankle, fractured shin bone. I don't know what it is. But I'm just seeing a potential situation where because okay, and you know what? And I respect this out of them. Let me just say that. I can respect it out of them that out of everybody who's had situations where, you know, they have women on their show and shit go awry, shit hit the fan, it normally be a situation where they blow up, go viral, got to put a woman out. Well, get the fuck out. Da, 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 da. They've never had a situation like that. And I think when they do their show with the women, I think they pre-record it. And then they put it out there, and then they probably edit it out if shit go awry like that. And I respect that. I respect that they not trying to. I mean, hashtag content strategy. Hashtag content strategy. But I respect that they not just trying to eat off that kind of, you know, man, get the fuck out, bitch, type of content strategy. They keep it classy. They argue the points. They argue the points against the women well, and sometimes it is dunking on intellectual midgets. But but either way it go, they do keep it more professional. I forgot where I was at in the show, but my man Christian Hutchison in the building just came through, says, I have to put my family at risk. Have to put my family at risk in favor of degenerates that hate my existence. Will terrorize my family, and any attempt at correction is demonized. Facts.
The ultimate responsibility for reconstruction of the black community rests with a man. The ultimate responsibility for reconstruction of the black community rests with me. Yes, they have a role. Yes, they have responsibility. But as a man, as a leader, to say I can't fix this shit unless she changes, that's not the definition of a man.
I don't see. I think we're on two different accords. Like, I don't think we're saying that. What I'm saying is I'm capable of being that leader, that provider. I've worked hard in my life. You get what I'm saying? I should not have to.
You still go back to individualism.
But I only feel like we tell black men that we have to now deal with masculine women with children.
Why is she masculine? Because she's had to raise the kids alone. Not one woman,
so
brother. A whole community.
So you mean to tell me the only woman I can look forward in my life is a masculine woman that has kids by other men?
No,
that's what I have to look forward to.
But I'm telling
that was the logical conclusion. That if you saying she's masculine because she had to raise kids alone, then you're telling him the only thing that he has to look forward to is a masculine woman with kids by somebody else. Can't get out of that one.
You mistakes made by black men systemically gave rise to the conditions that allowed her to be masculine and made her end up with a man that you consider to be less than what he should be. And I'm telling you, black men are responsible for her being masculine because we have not helped her raise them children.
I am not.
Now this is where it gets interesting, because when Umar argues down that path where he's saying it's black men's fault, but his previous arguments, it's all systemic. It's the white man. It's white racism. It's this. It's that. And like I said, going back to the beginning, if black men and black women are in disagreement, it's black men's fault. If black men, if it's a black woman involved, blame the black man. If it's a black man and a white man involved, blame the white man. It's like that's the progression that he goes to. He will damn near do so. He will make the conservative personal accountability bootstrap argument the collective edition. He will make that argument when black men are accurately pointing out the current situation and predicament between the social dynamics between black men and black women. No matter how much sense they make, he's going to run the I collective 22 sweep play. He's going to do that through and through. Put all onus and responsibility on black men. All right. In any other conversation, and we saw this play out when he was having that conversation with Cynthia G and the Hope Gazelle trans person. He went full, it's the system, it's the system, it's the system. It's systemic, it's racism, it's this, it's that, it's that, it's that. Again, that's why I made an Obie Allen comparison. Because when Obie Allen, when he's talking to women, he will get on them about their own personal accountability. But when he talks to black men, he said he basically, when he defends anything they got to say against black women, he pulls out the system, the system, the system, the system, the history, the history, the history, the history. And it's like nobody can ever make a sound, logical 2023 argument and point without going back to there are systemic things. And it's when you say systemic mistakes that black men made, I'm sure he could flesh that out better and could probably make it make more sense when he's talking about those said systemic mistakes. But I think he argues himself into a contradiction, because when he talks about things being systemic, that normally means the as he would call it, the white power structure did something. It normally means the white power structure did something, and so in that context, he will make excuses and say it's not black men's fault. But when black men are talking about black women, no, it is your fault. So it's a flip-flop type of thing that he does. It's a flip-flop type of thing that he does. I say drop the whole systemic argument. Understand the history, learn the history. History matters. But we can talk and deal in modern day terms about what's going on without trying to say that some 30-year-old woman, that was born in 1993 became an adult sometime, or became an adult in 2011. We don't have to sit here and try to make an argument saying that this woman that became an adult in 2011 been carrying the black community, raising 60, 70, 80% of the children by herself for the last 70 years. We don't got to make that argument. That's where the arguments fall apart. And then that when you do that, no black man, nowhere, no way, no how can have any critique of anything that any black woman does anywhere, anyway, anyhow. When you do that, and that's the flaw in that type of argument. When you start going into the history. Let's take it back to the mass incarceration in the 80s or in the 70s, as he said. Let's take it back to Jim Crow. Let's take it back to slavery. Let's take it back to Kemet. It's like no arguments, no points can ever be adequately made about today. And the only thing that he accepts today as a viable argument is for black men to dive on the grenade and help raise kids. And he's not even talking about being, he's going to say that pretty soon. He's not even talking about being a stepdaddy. He's talking about being worse. He's talking about raising those kids without even having sexual access. No, just have, like Chris is saying right there, have your family, have your own kids, go raise somebody else's too. That's essentially what he's saying. He's advocating for the same type of communal parenting strategy that BLM had in their tenets. He honestly averaging for the same type of communal parenting strategy is that remember when I said those had that one guy he interviewed, those 11-year-old black girls, and they were talking about how they think families and communities should be set up, and they basically just said women can have children by themselves and raise children by themselves, but if the men want to help and if the woman wants help from the man, then they can come back and they could help and they could pitch in, or they could be, they could be a part if they want to, and if the woman wants them to, like that. He's basically arguing for the same shit. Basically a type of communal parenting that basically just incentivizes, subsidizes, and helps them to be more comfortable in their single motherhood. That's what he's arguing. That's what he's advocating for. Just my 4 cents in the building says Dr. Umar is working harder to raise someone else's kids than his very own. I ain't getting into that. I ain't even getting into that because that's where we go wrong. When somebody says something else that we don't like, we pull out a sisterhood argument on them. It's a video that's somewhere on the internet that's findable where you could see all the bullshit that he went through, the same type of child custody, parental alienation shit that a lot of us talk about. He went through a lot of that same shit. So we ain't about to sit here and say he ain't trying to raise his own kids. And he basically did a full breakdown of how they was on some absolute bullshit when it came to him and his kids. So no, we're not about to do that. We're not about to do that and try to say that he ain't raising his own kids. We will hold the line for that one for Umar, even though he, saying a bunch of other shit that we disagree with. We will stand with him on that one. The tuition for the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy will come from single black woke females, so he has to ride with them. Yes. Yeah, that much is true. I can't even lie on that one. We can't even lie on that one. Yeah, so he can't say nothing bad about them. Lil Big Nate said one of his baby mamas said he was a deadbeat. Yes, women say that all the time. Women say that all the time about men. I mean, listen. I got called a deadbeat while oh shit, I don't even want to get into personal shit. I've been called my kids were with me, put it like this. Post-divorce, my kids has been with me more than they've been with the mother. And right now, they're both pretty much with me full time. I've had labels put on me. So no, I ain't about to believe all women. It's gonna take a lot of evidence for me to just say that this man is a deadbeat. It's gonna be a lot of evidence for me to just say that this man is a deadbeat. So no. I ain't going on that one. Y'all had to produce some hellified evidence. Jackie Loves Jack in the building with the super chat. She says, didn't Umar say he wanted to put Pookie to sleep for good? What? Where the hell that come from? Where in the hell did that come from? Clarify that one. Explain that one. I need to know. I needeth to know what's that about. Yes, definitely need to do that. Freeman's Journal in the building says, Bernard Riley, freeze frame. Look at the dejection. Damn it. I wish I would have knew when you said that.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what part when you said that, or I don't know if you're talking about this shot right here when you say dejection or whatever, but no, I'm not sure what part you're talking about. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. But yeah, it'll be impossible to find what part you're talking about. He says, Sir Tice in the building says he has to do this because women are his primary donor class. Yeah. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that he's alienated a lot of the trust of black men who would probably be a bigger donor class for him. And when he say later in his video that it's going to be he says 3 to 5 years. For the first 3 to 5 years, it will be all boys schools and girls will become a part of it. And I'm assuming that's probably pressure from the women that support him. Like, you got to do something for girls. And thus the continual perpetuation of said problem. I respect somebody doing the school for boys. Shout out to King Randall. I know the majority of his support is male because he's a card-carrying conservative black man. So I know black women ain't supporting him. So I know most of his support comes from men. I'm hoping mostly black men. But honestly, I ain't about to get into that. Men are the majority of the support that King Randall gets. I am confident of that. He says, how do I make another house How do I make a kid in another house do his homework, not curse, cut his hair, show up to the bus on time without undermining his own mom? That's a very, very difficult task. Just to put that plain and simple, very difficult task. Just my 4 cents in the building. Dr. Umar is working harder to raise someone else's kids than his very own. I think I already read that one. The tuition for the Frederick Douglass, damn it, the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy will come from single black woke females, so he has to ride with them. Absolutely. Christian Hutchinson says, wife wanted to sign kids up for art. I wanted to do chess. I have some leverage over my wife, and they are my kids too. I have none over the other women. Yeah, but if that's the debate and the problems of debating over art versus chess, then you're definitely winning. That's the biggest dispute you and your wife got, whether the kids going to art class or chess class. That sounds like a man who's winning. Nick Taylor in the building says Jackie is right. SKC use the clip constantly. Okay, let me read what Jackie said again. Y'all can get me that clip if it's findable, if it's out there. Try to get it in my hand. He said, didn't Umar say he wanted to put Pookie to sleep for good? Okay, all right. Well, I don't know the full context behind that. I'm almost done with every part of this that I actually wanted to cover. Almost done with it. Let me see. I'll probably cover a little more.
And when I say help them raise them children, I don't mean you as the stepdad.
No, yeah,
I mean you as an active member in the community, where we go to every single parent black mother and say, how many sons you got? 2? How many sons you got? 2? Well, guess what? That's your son's big brother. That's your son's big brother. He taking them to school. He doing the homework. He gonna spend a couple hours with him every Saturday. He got his own kids too, but he gonna make time for you. She got masculine because she had to become masculine in order to deal with the rape, the abuse, the domestic violence, the disappointments that men had in her life, and also raising those kids and have to take care of herself all at the same time. The black woman has been the be all in all in our community for half of a century. And now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough when she had to absorb our responsibilities plus her own, that's insensitive and disingenuous.
Woo, man. Man. We got to run that back. We got to run that back. We got to run that one back. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He threw so much in there. He said what I've been telling y'all that he's been saying for a while. He's not talking about you even being the stepdaddy. He's talking about you being, and shout out to Obsidian for coining the phrase, he's talking about you being the community eunuch and taking care of somebody else's kids while having your own shit going on, your own kids. You're going to go take care of somebody else's kids, and you're going to do that because what other men have potentially, figuratively, in some realm where we could apply all hurt that any woman has ever had to all black women. You know, it is true that some black women have been raped, but no. This particular woman who you don't know has been raped, therefore you have to take care of her kids. It's like bruh, like that. It's like he just collectivized a victimhood for all of them. There's a percentage of them that got some problems, some trauma, and all kind of stuff that you know, understand. Some people got some things that they went through, that they've been through, that they got to get healed from. But we gotta in a collective standpoint, like and look at it that way. Like we can't just say, oh no, this is a perfectly healthy woman holding her right mind who just, you know, was fucking a nigga that went shit and got pregnant. No, we gotta no. She's been beat, abused, battered, raped, had everything happen to her, and she can't do it by herself, and that's why she's masculine. So dive in and help.
And I'm telling you, black men are responsible for her being masculine because we have not helped her raise them children.
I am
and
not.
when I say help them raise them children, I don't mean you as the stepdad.
No, yeah,
I mean you as an active member in the community where we go to every single parent.
He's not talking about this is I guess we got to coin the phrase community stepdad. We got to coin the phrase community stepdad. Go to every single mother and be the community stepdad, where you get the work and the benefit. I mean, you get the work and responsibility of the stepdad, and without even the small diminishing benefit of being a stepdad. And so it's basically like she got knocked up by Pookie. You got to go raise that kid. While not, you got to go help raise that kid. But she don't stop fucking Pookie. Okay, now keep in mind, she still got Pookies running in and up out of there. That don't stop. She's still getting knocked up by like while you're mentoring that kid is currently somebody else in there putting another one in her. Like let all that sink in. While you're in there showing up every Saturday, every weekend, going to showing up at parent-teacher conferences and helping the kid with the homework and doing all that. Keep in mind, it's somebody else putting another baby in her. Like this. Like, when you follow this stuff to its logical conclusion, like that's how tight the logic is over here. Like we follow stuff all the way to its logical conclusion. All right. Yeah, Line 97. Hashtag, I know Keisha picked the Pookie, but that's my fault. The logic is airtight. We try to keep the logic airtight over here. He talking about not being a stepdad, which ain't a good deal anyway. He's advocating for a worse deal, okay? He's advocating for a worse deal. You go do the role of the stepdad without even being the stepdad. So while you're raising that kid, and by raising that kid, he means basically doing all the stuff that the stepdad does. While you're doing that, there's some other dude. There's a new Pookie pouncing on her every night, putting another baby in her. That you could also get passed on to you, or maybe to somebody else. Who knows? But we need all hands on decks. We need all hands on deck to raise the children of these women. That they just keep multiplying. Okay, we fixed one kid. Goddamn, another one. While I was fixing this one, all of a sudden, like 2 more kids crawled out of you in that amount of time. I just didn't know. This one is 15. He's on the honor roll. He's doing just fine. Where the hell did this little 6-year-old nappy head motherfucker? Where did he come from? I gotta fix him too. Oh shit! And then why you picking him up on? Why you picking the new one up on Saturday to go fix him, to go mentor him, to go do his homework with him? While you pulling out, you high-fiving the nigga that's fucking her on your way out. You just went in, you picked up the boy while you walking out. The nigga that's fucking her walking in, and y'all like high-fiving on the way out the door or the way out. Like, all right, man, you got it. You like, I'm gonna give another one for you to raise too. Keep at it, brother. Oh man.
Black mother and say, how many sons you got? 2? How many sons you got? 2? Well, guess what? That's your son's big brother. That's your son's big brother. He taking him to school. He doing the homework. He gonna spend a couple hours with him every Saturday. He got his own kids too, but he gonna make time for you. She got masculine because she had to become masculine in order to deal with the rape, the abuse, the domestic violence, the disappointments that men had in their life, and also raising those kids and have to take care.
You can never adequately collectivize the type of things that go wrong. Everybody has their stuff. Everybody has their thing, you know. I grew up without a father. My dad died when I was real young. Okay, everybody has their things. All right. You cannot look at somebody's actions and bad behaviors and then just put some collectivized trauma on it. It just, whenever you do that, I just say you're being disingenuous.
Care of herself all at the same time. The Black woman has been the be all in all in our community for half of a century. And now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough when she had to absorb our responsibilities plus her own, that's insensitive and disingenuous.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean, I guess I do understand what I understand what you're saying.
I'm not taking you have yet to tell me something that we've done systemically to combat that. Because you keep saying me and her. I don't care about me and her.
But there's plenty
women and men. Women and men as a group in the community. You understand?
Right.
We gave birth to that. You see? So you say she had a couple kids already because she met men. She probably thought they was good. Some of them, they left her.
She knew they wasn't good.
You don't know that, bro.
She knew they wasn't good.
You're making assumptions about her. Would you make the same assumption if she was a white woman?
Yes, I would.
So you said.
No,
come on, man. Nah, come on.
Listen,
woman accountable.
So you said.
Listen, like I said, I feel like as a Black
we
man,
don't hold them all accountable because Black men date outside their race more.
All right. Before we get all the way into that, if Umar wants that to happen, that collective mentoring thing, because he keeps saying, what have we done as Black men in a systemic collective way to try to fix that problem? Then in addition to him trying to start up the school that's been going since like 2016, he's been trying to get the school off the ground and everything. And I hate to even go down the route of saying, well, hey, he need to set that up. I mean, well, he do. I mean, he's advocating for it, so it's fair to say he need to be the one to, like, there should be some type of program where men, started in a particular area. I don't know where he's at. Let's just say he lives in Baltimore. Started in Baltimore. I'm sure there's enough men willing to do what he's saying need to be done. I mocked it, but okay. If there's enough men willing to do it, he should have the organization set up to a place where men could sign up. The women who sign up, who want the mentorship for their children, and he just basically just men come, they sign up. He assigned them to some women and some children, and he basically he should be facilitating that. So unless he got that organization already set and game set match, then it's like it's just really it's just playing like the whole little, it's basically just punting. Men are making decent points about the social dynamics between Black men and Black women, and he's figuring out a creative way to punt. Basically, that's a punt to me.
More than every other man put together.
I said we.
Y'all three.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can't disprove that because I don't know you personally.
Even that,
but
if we look at the numbers, Black men marry Black women at an 87% rate, where Black women marry outside of their race, or they marry outside at a 92%.
Black women do not. No, you're wrong.
That's percentages of
you're wrong.
That's not that much.
Black women do not marry out the race more than Black men.
I'm not saying that, but the percentages ain't that far off. That's
Black women have one of the highest, fastest growing interracial marriage rates. But her interracial marriage rate pales in comparison to what Black men have been doing interracially for 4 or 5 decades. You understand? She don't even come close to what we're doing interracially.
Black fathers are in the home more than any other group or race.
Okay. But what
that has no value?
It does have value, but we're going to put that up against the other statistic. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. And like I said, when I say being raised, I'm not saying it needs to be a father. I would like a father in that house, but I know it's not enough of us to go around.
Yeah,
we are not even being accountable to the boys in the hood, and we're
again. That's that BLM, communal parenting, not man, woman, children. He said father in the house would be nice, but we don't. Basically, so many words. We don't even need that. That ain't even what we're looking for. I just put the link in the chat, by the way. That ain't even what we need. We just need communal, collective parenting. That's what he's saying. That's essentially the argument. That's then why somebody said, Ricky. Why somebody say that? That's what he's advocating for. That's what he's advocating for. The link is in the chat. I pretty much went far as I can go with this one. I went pretty much far. Yes. Umar, Charles Merchant got it right. Umar says Umar equals Marxist. I don't know what a Luciferian is, so I ain't even going to click on it. But I understand what a Marxist is. I do understand that, and I think that is accurate. That is accurate. Shout out to Machismo TV.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
All right. We are joined by Brother Xavier. We are joined by Brother Xavier in the building. You have the floor. You have the mic. What is your take on all that we have heard here so far from the good Dr. Umar Johnson?
Peace, Brother Bernard. What's good with it, man? Thanks for letting me up. Let me first say this. I actually know Dr. Umar.
Okay.
I've spoken with him many times. I've interviewed him many times. I've talked to him in person multiple times. Up until about maybe like a year and a half ago, we used to actually talk on the phone a little bit. And believe it or not, I know this is probably hard to believe, but he's actually a decent guy when you talk to him in person. But me being who I am, he also knows, so I'm not saying nothing, like behind his back, that I disagree with a lot of the stuff he says. Especially when it comes to these type of topics. When it comes to, men going back into the community and mentoring / raising / coddling / grooming other people's children. I totally disagree with it. I believe that Brother Umar, he wants collective solutions for individual problems. That is kind of where it seems like he sits on it, because he'll tell you, you're being an individualist, but he wants these collective solutions to crack open these individual bad choice makings.
Yeah,
that's what he wants.
Yeah.
All right, that's what he wants. But only when it comes to the women, though. All right, only when it comes to the women. When it comes to the men, he's like, oh well, you allow Pookie to exist. I mean, how are you gonna say that other men that aren't the quote unquote Pookie prototypes, if you will, how can you say that they are allowing these quote unquote Pookie guys to exist for the simple fact that they are not helping these baby mamas raise their kids? It's like this, what came first, the chicken or the egg thing, right? It's like, well, if you guys were to, raise these kids, these kids in the street, because notice he always falls back on that. He always falls back on the kids who do not have fathers. That's where he goes. He's not talking about your kids. He's not telling you, well, y'all need to raise your kids, et cetera, as men. No, he always runs back to, well, these kids in the street, these kids who don't have fathers. So what he's saying is, because we are not out there subsidizing bad mates choosing for siring, because we're not doing that, we have allowed these Pookies to develop, being raised by their old mamas, and it's our fault that they are what they are, that they are robbing liquor stores, that they are killing people, that they are carjacking. It's all our fault, because at no point will he blame women for anything. But he's one of many, though, right? Women cannot be blamed for anything. You heard what he said. Right? Let me repeat it for you. She is a queen, even though she is not conducting herself like one. So they don't get blamed for anything. But what the good brother is missing is that, number one, most black men don't even have children. Let's start there. So what you're saying is that small percentage of black men who are out there creating these multiple baby mamas, and these baby mamas who are raising these said that, well, degenerate nigglets. Everyone else is responsible for them. Everyone except their mama and the Negroes they lay down to have them with. But that's all.
Right on, right on. Nick Taylor in the building says Umar's thought process equals pretzel logic. Shout out to Just My 4 Cents says my black wife will not like me at another woman's home spending my resources. That's one thing that he don't really deal with either. If these men who he want to do that already have a woman in their life, let alone children with that woman, convincing black men to do it is a lesser problem than you convincing other black women to be okay with their black man being at the house of some black baby mama who don't mind getting knocked up by, you know, by questionable men. So obviously this good decent man who's mentoring, I mean, like eventually she gonna throw some pussy at him too, and then that's just gonna cause a whole nother anyway, all right, let's you raise a good point right there. You raise a good point. I didn't think about that one. But Donovan Mitchell in the building says Umar should tell the man she's smashing to do all this work. I mean, being a stepdaddy is not a good deal, but it's an infinitely better deal than saying you're not even the stepdaddy. You're not even sexually or romantically involved in all. You have no investment with this woman at all. You just there for the kid. You just there for the kid. When you go pick the kid up to go mentor him, help him with his homework, do whatever you're doing, the nigga who's smashing her, y'all high-fiving, you know, as y'all passing through. Yeah. That's what she's essentially what he's essentially advocating for. But shout out to who we got, Devon Mishu right there. Shout out to you. Shout out to Christian Hutchinson once again. I don't know if I read this one. Says he has a better argument in creating a carve out in the tax code to adopt kids whose moms are on welfare, Section 8, EBT, etc. As an interesting point there. Just My 4 says in the building says, does the black church mentor black boys? There's some of that going on to my understanding. It is. Remember, Dr. Umar is the embodiment of the educated social justice Pan-African pseudo thug. Goddamn. Says this is the shape-shifting Marxist by any other name. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Appreciate everybody who's supporting the stream. Appreciate everybody supporting the stream. We are going to the one and only Little Big Nate in the building. What's going on? What say you on this?
Hey, what up, Bernard? X, what up, X? How you doing,
brother?
Bro?
Big Nate, man. What's good, man?
What up, dog?
I gotta call you, brother, man. We gotta rap, brother.
Dog.
I will.
Always a pleasure, Hood. Always a pleasure to share a panel with you, sir. The hypocrisy is the most disgusting thing, dog. He is the Pan-African Derek Jackson. That's all he is. He is a Pan-African Derek Jackson. So let me get this straight. You created 2 black baby mamas. And 20 some odd years later, you're on panels screaming about children that were raised without their fathers. At least one of your baby mamas took to the internet screaming that you were a deadbeat dad. Now, Dr. Umar, if black women are infallible, I'm to believe your baby mama. That you were a loser, that you didn't take care of your daughter. And you got 2 daughters, 2 illegitimate daughters with 2 black women. You talk about these black women not being protected, being raped and molested. That happens 99% of the time in a household where the biological father is not present. Why weren't you present? You fake married 2 women at your school. You fake married 2 other baby mamas. Why didn't you marry your 2 baby mamas? This is the stupidity and nonsense of leftist black men. He is a Marxist. Most pro-blacks are, quote, trained Marxists, just like BLM. Everything is done in a collective sense. He insults individualism. That's why he said to him, nah, that's that individualism. Whether you like it or not, individualism is the basis of this American system and free market capitalism. If you don't want to live in an individualistic society, that's fine. But demanding all these other people who are independently working to take care of their children, take care of their households, fulfill their dreams and their desires in regards to business and academia and whatever else, you want these people to stop what they're doing and come. Just wrap your heads around this, please. Please. They ask the black men that they rejected at the height of their beauty to come back and raise the children of the men they chose over those men. This isn't, you can't do this. You can't do this. And thinking black men need to say something. Look, you want to give your time to these charitable endeavors? I ain't got nothing bad to say about you, man. Go ahead and do it. But trying to guilt black men into taking a time away from the things they want to accomplish, their own women, their own children. We remember what happened to Cuddy in The Wire when he went to go get his star boxing pupil off the corner. He got shot in the thigh with a .45 caliber weapon, and then we're going to blow his brains out. But old dude said, nah, don't kill him. Don't kill him. Nah, I'm not going to help. I'm sorry. I'm all for help. You know the best way I think about helping, and this will be it. Put in these communities a building, all right? And it says, Office of Educational and Employment Advancement. And whoever comes in that office is who you help. All the rest of these motherfuckers, to hell with them. That's it.
Hold on, wait. Good stuff right there. SKC just emailed me the something about putting Pookie to sleep for good. I'll probably play that. It's like 42 seconds long. I'll probably get to that. But shout out to everybody in the building.
You need to see it.
Okay, all right, I will. But shout out to look and see anybody supporting the stream. Oh yes, people are supporting the stream via Cashapp. I apologize for being this damn late on it. My man RW, actually just one person, RW, dropped 10 on the Cash app for support, dropped another $2 on it, says strong men don't cower down to anyone except especially no woman. Shout out to RW on that one. And he comes back with another one. He says white women are starting to move like black women. It's white man's fault too. Shout out to RW in the building. Do appreciate you. All right. Let's move it right along to Hood Servative in the building. And while Hood Servative's talking, I will get that clip ready to go. But go ahead, Hood Servative. You got the flow, you got the mic.
I wonder, does Dr. Umar Johnson have a plan to take women's rights away? Because everything he wants can happen. It's not like what he's asking for is totally impossible, but it all starts with taking women's rights away. So if the great Dr. Umar Johnson has an ironclad, indefeatable plan to take women's rights away, I will support that, man. Otherwise, he needs to hush the fuck up. Because unless you're going to take women's rights away, nothing is going to happen. None of this happens with women who have rights, period. End of.
Explain that, tease that out, because some people here take women's rights away and then you lose them. So explain.
Women have the right to say no. Women have the right to say no. It's really that simple. You don't even have to get to voting and how much money they make and hiring practices and quotas and shit like that. That's all on top of it to make your life even harder. But the simple fact is, as a man who is tasked with being responsible for a woman, whether or not the kids of yours are relevant, the woman has the right to say no. And at that point, as the man, I'm given two choices. I either bow out gracefully or I beat her into submission. Now, that is a personal choice every man must make for himself, and I would never suggest a man beat a woman into submission. Why would I do such a thing? That's insane. But those are your options.
I'm used to Nate sending us to Patreon. Come on, Hood.
This one's going to Patreon.
No, I am not. Listen, I would never. Listen, if you need me to say it, men, do not beat women into submission. It's bad. It doesn't usually work. They don't usually go for it. So don't try it. But those are your options. Now, Dr. Umar is a punk for not even saying the options. Dr. Umar is going to walk you into a blender. I mean, a chainsaw. What's it called? Buzzsaw. He's going to walk you into a buzzsaw because you, as the man, you're going to be like, yeah, well, I'm stepping up and doing these things, and she's just not going to cooperate. What are your options at that point? Umar does not warn you about that situation. Umar automatically blames you for failure in that situation. So on top of your failure and your shame, you're going to feel some type of anger. And that's when you decide, oh, well, fuck this. I'm not going to do these things anymore. Umar is setting you up for failure. Walk away now instead of running away later.
Well, Brother Umar wants you to be of the mindset of the black queens of black society are allowed to do whatever they want. They can break as many as they want. They can break as many windows as they want. They can tear down as many houses as they want. And the onus is on the decent black men to come in there and rebuild the house and put the windows back in, and hopefully their little spawn don't come through and burn the house down and break the windows again. And if they do, that's your fault too. So he's kind of stuck on black men are responsible for everything. I've heard Brother Umar blame black men and the white power structure. Let me rephrase that. He thinks the white power structure and black men are responsible for everything that goes on inside the black community. I've heard Brother Umar blame baby mamaism on white supremacy. I've heard him say things like that. So I mean, at no point will he ever blame women for anything, even their own choices. He doesn't even blame them for their own conscious choices.
Hold on. You said I was typing something in the back. You said he blames what for white supremacy?
He's blamed baby mamaism on white supremacy. I've heard him. I have him on tape saying that. I mean,
okay,
yeah.
All right, yeah, no, yeah, that's run of the mill. That's run of the mill. Yeah, that's yeah. I've heard him do that. Yeah, but all right. Let me roll this.
So hold on, wait, 1 second before you jump into that. How is it? This is why I hate guys. I want to bring this up before we move on to this one last thing, bro. Umar Johnson's community daddy uncle program. Not even community uncles. I think that's a better way for it. His community uncle program is socialism. That is socialism 101. So the other day, when I was up here with BGS, the master teacher, and he was like defending but not defending socialism, this is where it's headed. You are all going to have to get one way or another. The master teacher don't want to tell you that, and Umar don't want to tell you the reality of it.
Hold on, back up just a little bit. You had borged a little bit. It sounds like you're driving. You had borged a little bit on the last sentence. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm just saying that this is socialism, right? So the master teacher doesn't want to be honest about you're going to have to be a stepdad. I mean, you're going to have to be a community uncle in order for socialism to really work. It's part of the rules. It's unwritten, but it's written down. It's just you niggas don't read. But the thing is, it's actually written into the socialist order. You have to destroy the family unit, but there's still going to be kids, and the kids still need to be taught, and community uncles. This is the socialism plan 101.
And if you understand Marxism, everything under Marxist ideology is community property, the women and the children. Actually, the children belong to the state. They take them from their mother and father. The mother and father don't even live in the same house. The women are community property. All men enjoy their turn with all the women. Well, the women are enjoyed by the elites, and whatever. And once the women get used up by the elites, they throw the women down to the working class. You know, the working class that don't get to pick their careers. They get told that they're going to work in the steel mill. They get told they're going to work in the coal mine. They get told where they're going to work. You don't pick your own career and your own job in Marxism. No, and this is what he's doing. He's telling you, hey, we got a job to do. We need to go save our children. We. I told you all, whenever a black man talks about how we have to do something, you need to stuff your ears with cotton and start to walk away from him. He is a leftist. All you hear out of Dr. Umar's mouth is leftist ideology. And if feminism is such a profound component of Marxism, because feminism is celebrated there because feminism leads to the division of men from women, just ask Umar which has been a more deadly foe. We suffered for 310 years under chattel slavery. Soon as we were emancipated, black people were making families in towns. 60 years under white liberalism and black feminism, there's almost no black family. Which is a more destructive ideology?
All right, now this is the tape that came from. I'll pull up the super chat that prompted
let me
this
just
rabbit
say,
hole.
let me just say this before
All
you
right,
go,
hold on.
Brother Bernard. This totally contradicts everything he just said on his last clip with the young brothers. But go ahead.
Right. Okay, now Jackie Jack said something that made me raise an eyebrow. She said, "Didn't Umar say he wanted to put Pookie to sleep for good?" I have
heard
no.
that. I know that.
No, I got the tape. I got the
Oh, you
tape.
do? Okay, cool.
It's a
cool.
42-second tape. I don't know the context of why he said that or what it's about. I'm just gonna play the tape. If additional context is necessary, I'll let y'all add it. But here we go.
Energy, anger. Thug energy is normally anger and pain. That's all it is. I know because I do therapy with them thugs. And once they see I ain't scared of them, then we can have a conversation. And fellas, I want to be clear now. When we go back to take over the community, because we're going to have to do it. But I want to be clear. And I know some of us love our children, but some of our children are so far gone that we're going to have to put some of them to sleep in order to take back the neighborhood.
That we're gonna have to put some of them to sleep in order to take back the neighborhood.
Some of y'all don't want to hear that because you don't live in reality. But I'm telling you as a psychologist, I'm not going to be able to psychologize all of them on the corner. Some of them going to sleep. Fuck die!
What
The brothers should have played this tape. They should have played it.
I love it. That's I can rock with that, Umar. I can rock with that nigga. Yes, sir. Put them niggas to sleep. Yes.
Let's make sure we understand what's being said here. Because he's talking about the decent upright brothers among us we need to take back the ship. Like Captain Phillips, okay? We got to take back the ship. The ship has been taken by a bunch of Pookie and Ray the hood niggas. We got to go back and take back the ship. So he's calling for what amounts to a civil war where we go break the law. Is he literally saying go put some of these niggas down? go out in the hood and be willing to bear arms and put Pookie and Ray to the sword. Is that what he's saying?
I'm going to kill some of your kids. Some of your kids must die.
Yes, sir.
They must die. Yeah.
And I agree with him completely.
Oh my!
I have a video.
Some of your children will be killed.
I have a video in, I think it was Fayetteville.
Wait, I just had a brilliant idea. One second, one second. A brilliant idea. I'll meet you halfway, Umar. Either they join your step uncle community program or you kill them. I think that's fair. You go to all the Pookies. Hey, listen, get down and lay down. You got to be a community step uncle or I kill you.
Join or die.
I got a news clip from, I believe, Fayetteville, North Carolina, where a young white woman who was pregnant pulls up to this really shitty looking 5 and dime gas station. There's a bunch of the type of Negroes he's talking about having to put to sleep. They're standing out there. The white lady gets out. She's about to go in. One of the filthy guerrillas decide to pull a gun. This white woman is in a 2010 Dodge Avenger. You know, I deal with cars. I'm an auto damage appraiser. I've totaled out several of these cars. Based on the condition that car was in, and depending on the mileage, because nothing affects a vehicle's value more than mileage, that car at tops was probably worth $2,000. 2010 Dodge Avenger, and it was missing a hubcap. You could see it in the video. So the black boys, they decide they're going to steal the car. They shoot, and this is all on camera. They shoot the white woman in her stomach several times. They shoot her 7 times. Nobody in the vicinity helps her. She goes into the gas station. She lays on the floor, and the boys can't start the car because you got to jiggle. You know, it's rigged, you know, because it's an old shitty car. It's rigged, so they can't start it. So they get out and they run. They killed her baby. They shot this woman 7 times, shot her in her stomach, little baby dead. The woman survived. Of course, it doesn't make national news because black people committing evil, heinous acts against whites doesn't happen. And of course, Umar would never talk about this. These monsters need to be put asleep. I'll use Omar's words. They need to be put to sleep. They need to hang from the light posts in that community so their shitty mamas can drive by and watch them decompose. That's what needs to happen.
You're leaving a part out. Leaving a part out, Brother Nate. They need to be put to sleep.
That's what needs to happen to these guys. That's what needs to happen to these guys. They killed the woman's baby and almost killed her. And nobody in the gas station helped her until the cops came. She's laying there bleeding to death. But of course, you know, it's a white woman, so you know it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Oh man. Yeah, thanks, Jesus. Well, do we know if these guys they got away with it or no? I mean, did they do?
Oh no, they're being at the. I didn't follow up on the story at the time. They were still looking for the assailants, but they're on camera, you know, and I'm sure you know they'll get a hold of them soon enough. But
yeah,
you
kill somebody like that on camera, they'll get the death penalty. So I mean,
hopefully, hope they kill all.
It won't be as dramatic as hanging them from the what do you say, the light post?
Yes, hang them from the light post.
It won't be as Game of Thrones dramatic as that, but but yeah, they will get the death penalty. Nate,
I hope so. I sincerely hope so. Kill them all.
Well, you know,
don't assume that. You'd be surprised how soft the law is lately.
It's all of our faults that they did that, though, Brother Big Nate. You do realize that it's our fault.
It's our fault.
That they did that to that woman. It's our fault.
Yeah,
probably because we have our own children. We have our own interests. We're trying to be successful black men ourselves. I mean, X, you got a business. I think Hood's doing trucking. Bernard's obviously got a business. I'm working on some stuff. But you need to set that all aside. Set aside the time from your children, X, your grandchildren, and go raise these boys that would kill your mama for the 55-inch TV you bought her for Mother's Day. Wouldn't think twice about it. But you got to go fix them. I ain't fixing shit.
Dame C in the building with the Dame C in the building with $2 super chat. Do appreciate that. Appreciate everybody who's supporting the stream. Appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to RW. I don't even know if I spelled the W part right. But I don't know if that W. Okay. But either way, anyway, shout out to RW. Shout out to RW in the building. Send $14 on the Cash App in. Shout out to JR with the $5 Cash App. Appreciate everybody who's supporting the stream. Definitely appreciate you. Yeah. Yeah, this one was wild. The amount of deflection making and excuse making and all of that we saw in the video, it was high level pandering, and there's an aspect of that. And I'll take it down this road. What do y'all think about the revelation that he threw out there? And keep in mind, let's assume that the school is going to open. He talked about how he got everything he need in terms of the plumbing, piping, HVAC, all that's done. Said he had to go to white people to get it done. That's not okay. Hold on, story. But he got all that done. School is gonna open. Let's have faith. It's gonna open. He said the first 3 to 5 years it will be an all boys school, and then girls will be integrated into it, then it will become for boys and girls. What do y'all think about that? There's a lot to read into that, especially hearing what he just hearing his performance that he just gave on the video that I played. It's a lot to read into that. What do y'all read into that? Go ahead, X. X, are you there? I heard you about to speak. All right, let's go. Let's pass it to Nate. What do you read into that one?
Into the school eventually becoming co-ed?
Yes.
I don't think the school's ever even gonna open. He was, and no, I'm not trying to. I sent him $25 in 2018.
Yeah, me too. I sent him 50.
Oh, go ahead, X.
I sent him 50 in 2019. I mean, I ain't giving him no more than that, but I did give him $50. What I believe is this. His idea is noble, right? It's a noble idea. You set up a school. It's all ran by black folks, and a black man started it. He's the founder of it, et cetera, et cetera. It's a noble idea. But what I think the real problem is that, number one, Brother Umar may be a little bit over his head, just a little bit with this thing, because I'm a blue collar guy, all right? And, when you're talking about major plumbing projects, major carpentry projects, major electrical projects and HVAC projects, you don't need one plumber. You don't need one HVAC guy. You don't need one electrician. You need crews of people, especially when you're talking about a whole campus. Now, he claims to have all of this done already. And I hope it is. But from what I saw over the past couple of years, he doesn't need a plumber, an electrician, and an HVAC guy. He needs crews, okay, of these people. He needs crews of carpenters. He needs crews of flooring guys, crews of electrical engineers. He needs crews of carpentry guys, crews, all right?
You want to know what? Hold on. What you just explained right there, I think that's why he had a hard time finding black people to get it done. Is because, like I said earlier in the show, a lot of black businesses are solo entrepreneur, a solo entrepreneur nigga operation, and so yes, he need crews. So when he went to some white businesses, yes, they were able to send 20 men down there,
Mm-hmm.
So, and a lot of black people not running an actual organization like that, an actual vertical business where, yeah, you talk to the man who does the contracting, and then he go there. He got the head, on site guy who shows up, and he shows up with the crew of 10 men, and they bang it out, get the work done, and everybody's getting paid. There's a payroll. There's a whole production basically. I think he probably had a hard time. Part of it could have been Cap. I don't know exactly what it is. He could have been.
Well,
he could have been grandstanding. Okay, well, go ahead. I'm sorry. What?
This is the problem, Brother Bernard.
Okay.
And y'all can go to my channel and hear this for yourselves. All right, because it's still up. Back in, I believe this was in 2017 or 2018 when we spoke about this. What he was looking for. He was looking for brothers to come in and volunteer. Carpenters, masons, electricians, the whole gambit, the whole blue collar gambit. That's what he was looking for. He wanted brothers to come in, I guess, to volunteer their time, their supplies, their equipment, their services. I mean, that's what he was looking for. And I knew that wasn't a real possibility, especially when you're talking about brothers coming in from out of state, because you're asking them to volunteer time. You're asking them to volunteer supplies, equipment, And not only that, while these brothers are there, because the work that needed to be done wasn't going to be 1 day, 2 days. You know, some of that stuff was going to take weeks, maybe months to get done because of the extent of the damage of the building, which you could see for yourself in the videos. So you got to have crews there for weeks and weeks. These guys need a place to stay. These guys have to have somewhere to shit, shower, and shave. All right. They need to eat. All right. And a lot of these guys, they have families, so they can't be there for I know I couldn't. All right. And I'm on the road, but I'm never on the road more than maybe 3 days. You know, I mean, I can't go somewhere and be there for 3 weeks. All right. It's not a reality. So this is kind of what he was asking for, you know, back then. Now you're talking 5, 6 years ago. Things could have changed between then and now. But y'all go to my channel, y'all see where I interviewed him. This is what he was talking about. He wanted people to come in, volunteer their services on the strength that we're all black. That's what he wanted. And he said, you know, people should come in, look out, you know, carpenters and everybody help me get the school up and running, and, you know, we'll work something out down the road, you know, or you know, take half of the money and y'all come in and y'all do the work, and, you know, we'll work that out down the road. That's what he was saying. But like I said, this was 5, 6 years ago. I don't know what he got going on in 2023. And if y'all don't believe me, y'all can go to my channel. It's all there.
Well, let's do it like this. Let's do it like this. He pretty much talked about what you just talked about, but he did it in a different light. I got it. It's time stamped at the part. So he about to get right into the whole problem with the contractors, the white contractors versus black contractors. Shout out to these brothers who did the video for doing what I don't take the time to do, and that's add the timestamps into the show. so you can pop, like I was able to go right to the segment. So shout out to them.
School 2017. I'm happy, jumping for joy. Little did I know, the black contractors was not going to do us any justice. Man. We got robbed, we got scammed, man, our own people.
Which is unfortunate, yeah.
Very unfortunate. Then one day, last September, I said, you know what? I'm gonna have to use white folks. I waited 3 years to try to get my people. We got to school in 17. We got to school in 19. I saw it in 17. We got it in 19. This is 2023. Right? So February of 19 to 20 to 21 to 22 to 23. 4 years. February, March, April, May, June, July, August. It'll be 4.5 in August. I decided to call up a white man, HVAC. He had both units on the roof in 2 days. Crane truck and everything. We already bought the units. We had them custom made. Right. So they've been sitting for a year. Brand new. Sitting. Because all the black HVACs tell me they're going to come do it. Never did it. So I called a white man to do it. He gets the units up right before the festival. I start scratching my head like, damn. Waiting on brothers for 3. This white man did this in 2 days? So then I asked the white man, I said, you know any plumbers?
All right. So before we even get any further with that, so to take what he's saying right there, comparing it to what you more or less just said, that basically he was waiting all that time trying to get black men to basically show up and volunteer their efforts.
Do it for free. Exactly.
Yeah.
And he didn't ask no white man to do it for free. You pay the white man. You'd have played a serious business HVAC black man, he'd have come and done it. But you trying to get the hookup.
And back then, I asked him flat out. I said, well, you know, you won't accept, you know, no help from white folks or, you know, Latinos or Asians. Oh, no, black man. It's got to be all black folks. That's what he said. So I guess he had a change of heart. You know, these things happen when you get desperate.
And just let's look at a couple of things. King Randall started his school with less than $30,000. King Randall was 19, I believe, when he started his school. Dr. Umar had over $700,000 at one time. 700 grand liquid cash. Okay. And he couldn't get it started for almost a decade. Now, when you look at that school he bought, those enormous buildings, what you see is Dr. Umar's ego. That's his ego reflected in the size of the school. Nobody in their right mind would try to start a school that big that accommodate that many students. King Randall started small. All the black men that have started independent black schools, and there are some incredible schools. There's Boyce had a little thing when he several years ago where he gave $5,000 to an all black boys school, and several schools like they had to show their story and whatever. And the school he chose was started for about $20,000. 9-year-old black boys are learning trigonometry. Okay, coming from those same depressed neighborhoods. All right. The man had $750,000. And if he would have bought a 5,000 square foot building or leased it, got the latest equipment in there for maybe 100, 150 boys, and would have started churning out quality students that could get scholarships to other colleges, the money would have flooded in because he would have had proof of concept. But no, he's an egomaniac. He is. The school you see, the size of it, and all these grandeur movements and traveling throughout the city, I mean, the country, and going to Africa and all this shit, and Big Papa, I forgot what he called. He called himself Big Papa something. But all this shit is about his ego. The size of the school is about his ego. And in closing, there was he was on an interview I saw, it was like last year, where somebody had called in and said, how do you plan on paying the teachers? This enormous school is going to require a tremendous amount of staff. How the fuck you plan on paying these people? You know what he said? He said, don't worry about it. Nigga.
It'll all work out.
This is leftist Marxist ideology. I'm waiting on the brothers to come and help me. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to come together and make this. He didn't run that line of shit to the white man. He paid the fucking white man. In 2 days, it was done. He'll leave that out, though.
All right. All right. We are joined by Game Changer in the building. What's going on? What's on your mind?
No, I just came up to make a point of what was said that, yeah, he wanted the black man to do it for free, but he actually offered to pay the white man. So, yeah, that's really telling. Also, it's also telling that he didn't mention that when he was talking to the brothers. You know, he just made it a point like, oh, the black man didn't do it. So basically what he did was is he shitted on what's supposed to be his end product. Stuff like that is bad advertisement for black contractors because people listening are going to think like, okay, should I hire a black man and wait 3 years, or should I hire a white man and wait? So basically, he just like dirty macked for white supremacy, you know, without, you know, yeah. So without leaving that whole, you know, oh yeah, but I wasn't going to pay the black man. So that's essentially what he did. And then, so if these boys grow up to be contractors and business owners themselves, you know, they have to deal with the stigma that this nigga put out there. So, yeah, I mean, and this is the end result of chronically deferring to shitting on black men. You know, that's his go-to thing. Like, you know, oh yeah, the reason why my school took like 3 years to make, you know, which is, you know, basically his school is taking longer than the kids are in school. Like the kids were in junior high that he was going to enroll, and now they graduated high school. So yeah, I mean, he put the blame, he shifted the blame to other brothers, the black contractors. And notice that he didn't offer to pay the black contractors. He didn't say, okay, I see that, you know, getting you to do it for free isn't a good idea. So how about I give you money to do it? But he's just said, no, if I'm going to pay, I might as well pay a white person because, you know, their crane is stronger.
Man. And there's so many contradictions, man, because if you look online, I mean, it says that he completed it in April of 2021, but he's saying that he did such and such in 2022. So, I mean, there's a lot of contradictory information out there. You know, it's hard to believe, you know, everything that's going on. You know, I advise people to kind of look into it for yourself. I mean, because there's so much stuff. I mean, you see him, he says one thing, and then you see something else online. So you don't know what to believe. It's hard to believe him at times, and I've told him as much. You know, like I've told him the last time we spoke that I'm starting to doubt you, Doc. You know, and there's some doubt there, brother, because you know, you say these things and then they don't happen. And he tells me, he's like, oh, black man, it's good, you know, to have some doubt. I'm like, yeah, man, because, you know, we hear one thing, then we hear something else, you know, and then you telling us you pushing the date back and people don't believe you. You say you don't want white people, you know, to help you out. And now you got white people helping you out. I mean, you know, there's so much cross information. I mean, you don't know what to believe. So
he could have started that school for $30,000, $40,000, had plenty of money to pay a small staff, and the money would have flooded in once he got students that could go to Harvard, go to Howard with any kind of scholarship. The money would have flowed in, but he's an egomaniac, dog. He just
that's a underrated point that's being made in all of it. With the money that he had flowing in, the 700,000 or whatever he had. Yes, if he would have did like a $50,000 to even $100,000 operation and then started it with a $600,000 surplus, like, you know, he would have been able to do a lot and get a lot done from if he would have did it like that. So yeah, that's a very underrated point in all of this. But we are joined by Officer Faulkner in the building. Woo! Had to get the Ric Flair in for you. All right, I got you. But go ahead, Officer Faulkner. You got the floor. You got the mic. What's on your mind?
Technically, it's Sergeant Faulkner, but who's counting?
Sergeant. Okay, no, Sergeant. I got it. I get it right going forward. Sergeant Faulkner. All right.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Salute.
It's
Brother
funny.
Faulkner, what's good with it, man?
It's funny because, you know, I've been on many panels throughout the years with many different people. We have disputes. Grown men should have disputes. You should be able to stand on your square and defend it. And I might be somewhat of an expert in defense. I can't defend this. I've spoken to Dr. Umar on a couple of occasions. And there's some things I agree with him and some things I can't. But to blame black men and to have black men literally come into homes and raise kids, regardless of seeing what's the malfunction with the mothers or the women, that's half past a bit disingenuous. See, I'm sorry. I'm the way my parents raised me is that we'll punish you hard. So when you do something again or think about doing it, or your brother see you or some other kid see you, the punishment was so severe that nobody else is going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know why single motherism went down? Because them chicks seeing how their mothers and grandmothers had it so fucking hard. So if you're pretty much wiping away all the iniquities that these chicks have committed and saying, hey, don't worry, the black guy you didn't want who's successful is going to help you take care of this kid, instead of being a better picker of men. And lately I've been getting into discussions with women, especially, you know how Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers, both biological and appointed. Which I thought it was funny is that a lot of these women have so much shit to say around Father's Day, but mother can go blameless even though your mother was a crackhead, a prostitute. Your mother literally lost custody, but because your father wasn't there for your little dance recital, because he was pulling in double shifts for you and your kids, oh, he wasn't always a good father. I'm doing some construction. But to go ahead and say it's black men's fault, do these women have agency of their own mind and volition? Last time I checked, they're independent. This is what their independence get them, correct? Loneliness, single motherhood, the stress that men usually took for decades, if not centuries. Now y'all dying from it. I'm sorry, you have to really take accountability, which is the number one thing that stifles growth is accountability. And I'm sorry, I've said this on my channel many of times. The first rule of protection is obedience. If you can't listen to me, how the fuck am I supposed to protect you? And I'll say this part about the school. I'm not knocking him for the school. It's a good idea, but I've seen many people do more with less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
And we have a couple in Baltimore, like we had a school for all male, 100% graduation rate. Each one of the boys, may not be a big school, but each one of the boys were accepted into college. At some point, if you really believe in your material and what you say, you gotta.
Oh, Sanky going in and out, Charles.
Might have lost the sergeant.
We might have lost him.
But you know what's really crazy though?
Oh, go ahead.
You know what's really crazy when it comes to these types of things, because we talk about these things all the time. It's almost as if people want to give these women diplomatic immunity. It's like they have diplomatic immunity when it comes to, I mean, are they responsible, accountable? Are they the blame for any damn thing? That they're not even to blame for their own decision making at this point? Even that must be blamed on the black man or the white power structure. I mean, all of this needs to be blamed on someone else beside the people who are making the decisions. I mean, it's utterly ridiculous and absurd at this point, man. It's
yeah, they are blamed, brother X. They're blamed for being such dutiful, loyal, faithful, slim, beautiful women to such ancient men. They're blamed
that's what it is.
Yeah, it's their fault for being so perfect to such imperfect men.
Oh, you mean it's not Donald Trump's fault that they're fat?
Well, no, I mean, so it's Reagan, the Bushes, and Donald Trump's fault. Let's not get that twisted. But yeah.
Charles, Charles Merchant got to be tripping in the chat room. But all right, Fantastic in the building. Shout out to Mr. Fantastic. I think you covered this one yesterday. What's going on? What you got to add to this one, man?
Hey, what's up, man? What's going on with you?
What's going on?
Not much. Hey, yeah, man. I just wanted to just a quick correction to what Charles Faulkner said. Single mother rate didn't go down; it actually went up. What he meant to say was the teen pregnancy rate went down. So they learned from they learned the consequences, and this is how we know. And again, shout out to Charles Faulkner. I wasn't saying that like as a gotcha thing, but he really made his point, his intention was very, very important. These women understand consequence, okay, to the point of where we've seen an entire generation of them change their behavior. Okay, they literally changed it. The teen pregnancy rate went down exponentially. And then what did they do? They said, okay, well, we go hot girl summer it up for our whole entire teens and most of our 20s. Now we're going to have children in our 30s or late 20s. So like he said, and shout out to him, man, shout out to all the, military, police. We have a different mindset when it comes to leadership and structure and all these different things and what he say, because we literally live by two sets of laws, right? So we understand that to the utmost, because it's certain stuff that I can get away with as a civilian that I cannot get away with as, militarily. You know what I'm saying? It's a totally different. So it's super strict when it comes to these things, and leadership and consequences. You have to have consequences to show and keep order, because if you allow one person to just constantly buck and buck the system and do whatever they want, what's the incentive for everybody else to do the right thing? You see what I'm saying? And that's what black women have had now, as Dr. Umar said, for 50 years, man. 50 years. And now that we are the first generation of men, the millennials, we are. It's like, I'm not gonna be no stepdaddy. I'm not taking care of these kids, it's not mine. I'm going to do what I want to do. I do not owe you my time. I do not owe you my success after I made all the right decisions. I ain't never been in jail. I ain't never been in prison. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never been a detriment to my community. I ain't sold no drugs. I ain't robbed no houses. Hey, and you said I was lame for that. Cool. You had kids by those dudes. All right, so now you live with it. All right, that's your decision. You made that bed. You lay in it, okay? And the nigga that's in it with you, I am not, and I refuse to bring along individuals, man, that are just going to perpetuate this. Oh man, what about the real niggas? What about the hood? No, man, get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit. Most of us grew up in the hood and around the hood. And you know what we chose to do? To not do and participate in the hood activities, nigga. All right? If and when black women clearly know and make the choice. If you can make the choice for the right nigga in your 30s, you can make the choice for your right nigga in your 20s. No, we not doing it. We ain't going. We not with that bullshit. And this ain't talking to the hoes more so. This is a rallying cry for black men. Let me reiterate that. This ain't us really even talking to them hoes. Bro, I got nothing to say to a bitch in the projects, a bitch on Section 8, a bitch with 7 baby daddies. Bro, me and her have no conversation to have, okay? This is for black men to understand that this shit is working to the point of where you're going viral any and every other day. And you're having responses any and every other day because black men are fucking saying, no, bro, we changing this shit. So just keep it going, bro.
And if I
could, real quick. I'm just going to say this real quick, then I'm going to wrap off. Shout out to Fantastic. Me and him always had our differences, but at least we could see logic. But here's the problem. The more you turn a blind eye to foolishness, the more it's gonna produce. Think about it. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad. I remember when I was a cop, the kids were coming late to school. Some lady asked me, aren't you going to tell them kids to go to school? I said, why should I make more competition for my son?
Damn.
I'm willing. Let me put it this way. I'm very willing to help any kid who's showing effort. I will never knock a kid showing effort. If a young man said, hey, sir, can you help me with this? I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. But if you're lazy and despicable, hell no. And what happens is this. Nobody ever asked the question, why do the fathers have to fight so much to be in their child's lives?
Mm-hmm.
Why does there have to be a fight anyway?
Right.
If women picked men the same way they pick their clothes, their hair, their nails, their shoes, the black community, we'd be living in space somewhere because we'd be so technologically advanced. But what happened is we always give them a way out, an excuse. I'm sorry. At some point, you're going to have to make the example out of somebody. As we said in the military and police department, don't be the example. That's all. Your day will go a lot better. Thank you, gentlemen. Woo! I'm out.
All right. Thank you.
If I could chime in real quick.
Real quick. Hold on, wait. No, little Big Nate was trying to get in next. I'm gonna go to Nate. But Omega Dress Gaming Channel with the $5 super chat. He says they don't want women to suffer in punishment, and yet it's here and devouring them all. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Go ahead, little Big Nate. You got the floor. You have the mic.
Yeah, so if you never address the behavior of the women, the problem can never stop. You'll address this generation of wayward, fucked up teens, but there'll be a whole new crop coming again in 10 years, then a whole new crop coming again in another 10 years, where the problem will never stop. They're going to continue to produce these out of wedlock, illegitimate babies. Most black children are born out of happenstance. Some female fucking some dude, and then you parlay, a good time and good Instagram pictures and sex. And you try to turn that into a family. And it's not how it works. It's never worked like that. So if you never address the women, you will never address the ultimate problem. You'll just be putting Band-Aids on all these gaping wounds. And you'll never stop the bleeding unless you address the women. I've said if you and this is to all these hoteps and pro-blacks and niggas on the left, if you cared about black women, you would correct them. If you don't correct them, you don't care about them, or you're just a coward. And just admit you're a coward. You're scared of them. Admit that you're scared of black women. Okay? And
Yeah,
then
so if you follow the internal logic of their position, that should be their logical progression or conclusion to go and try to fix the problem in that way that you're describing. I mean, if you follow their internal, because they care about it. Over here on this side of things, we're okay. We're okay with separation, but they're not. They're looking at it from the standpoint of saving the whole damn community in some collective way. And the way that they're talking about, the way that they're addressing the problem, that it can't be addressed. And that's what, Hood Conservative, said taking their rights away. But the fact of the matter is they're talking about a group of women that got freedom, right, liberties, pursuit of happiness, to do whatever the hell they want to do, regardless of how fucked up it is. And if you're not trying to truly contend with that, then all of that pro-blackity black stuff is pissing in the wind if you're not addressing those actions and behaviors. Their argument is black men need to be so perfect to where the only option is for them to align themselves with a perfect black man. That's essentially their argument. And that shit ain't working. But go ahead. I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, if you want to solve these problems, well, first of all, like productive, competent, family-oriented black men, we don't really have a lot of problems. Let's just be honest. You make your money, you can move away from these problems. BGF Duck's mama lost all five black sons of her died. 4 were murdered, and I think the other died.
Who are you talking about?
FBG Duck. You know that rapper in Chicago?
No.
You never heard
think
of
you were.
Oh yeah, like I think a couple of years ago he was murdered in the streets. Big drill rapper in Chicago, FBG Duck.
I do remember that name circulating probably around the time that he died, but there was so many rappers that died around that time. It's serious. I did a video on it, and I had somebody help me out with it. Find me a list of names of notable rappers that have died, ever since Nipsey Hussle. And I was trying to put them all in a thumbnail. It was too many to put in one thumbnail. I had to just choose like the top, 6 or 7. A thumbnail would have been too full. So it's so many of them. I can't keep up.
I know. But this story is a little unique because all 4 of her 5 sons were murdered in Chicago. She never moved. She never relocated. She never thought, oh my God, let me get the rest of my babies out of this war zone. No, she just lost her 5th and final black son, which was her most successful. Shot right in one of the shopping districts of Chicago, of course, just dead niggas everywhere. And, it was no big deal. I swear to you, I watched news accounts of her speaking about it. I never once saw her cry. Never once. A lot of these single moms don't cry when their children die, or that you'll see them on the TV trying to make themselves cry.
Yep.
It's crazy. If I lost either one of my children,
they cry if you slap that wig off.
If I lost either one of mine, I would be inconsolable. Like, you probably couldn't fuck with me for a good couple of years, dog. But like these, and I'm not saying all women don't care about their children. I'm just saying, if you hate the guy you had the child with, if you never took the relationship seriously, like, women go through the pain of death to create a child. But now it's just it's a whatever. Hey, I'm pregnant. I'll chop this one up. The next one, I'll have it. I like this nigga a little more. I'll have this one. But of course it won't work out because, black men are the problem. Look, like I said, unless you correct her, and I think there's a woman in the chat who took issue with me saying correct her or whatever. No, you correct her. And I'm not going to say that on your chat. I'll say it on Rumble tonight. I was going to talk about putting hands on somebody, but no, I won't do that.
Come on.
Go ahead.
You gotta be clowning. Yeah, I gotta chill.
But check this out, Brother Bernard and everybody else that's up here. 8 years ago, I started telling y'all about these old mamas. And when I started talking about it, a lot of those kids were 8, they were 9, they were 10. Now these kids that I was telling y'all about, these old mamas, they are 16, they're 17, they're 18 now. These are the kids who are out there robbing liquor stores, breaking into your house, vandalizing your business, carjacking, and knocking your grandmother in the head in the subway. I got one question. Do you believe me yet? Do you believe me yet?
Well, we are at the 3 hour, almost at the 3 hour and 30-minute mark. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap this thing up. Shout out to Machismo TV as we get up on out of here.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And with that said, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.
Peace.